Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami Fort Lauderdale presents the Neil Rogers Show.
All right.
To talk to Neil, call 567-0560, toll free for Dade and Bradford, or pound 560 on your cell phone. The opinions of Neil, his guests, callers, or anyone else on the show do not necessarily reflect those of WQAM, Beasley Reed Acquisitions, or the Beasley Broadcast Group. Now, Neil Rogers on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
You know, Fat Rich reminds me of my mother.
In theaters now, from the director of Leave It to Beaver and the producer of The Spy Who Shagged Me. It's The Spy Who Shagged Beaver.
Do I make you horny?
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Do I make you horny, baby? Yeah, do I?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Oh, groovy, baby.
Shall we shag now or shall we shag later? I've still got the breakfast dishes and everything to do.
The Spy Who Shagged Beaver.
Did you ever have anything named out of you?
Oh, behave.
When your dad sees this, it's back to the coaster wagon for you.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, the worst news I've ever heard in my life. And especially Donnie B likes him, so you know he's an old hack. You know, Donnie B's not a bad guy, but he's got the worst taste in everything. Everything. Thought Christina Moore was a talent. And I've been taking a leak about 10 minutes ago, and there's Donnie B at the urinal. Thank God there's a divider in there. But nevertheless, and he says, well, what do you think about Jigs? I said, he's an old hack. He's terminal. He's boring. Oh, I grew up with him with the Islanders, him and Eddie Westfall. And I went, yeah. Oh, my God. How could this be? Well, it's easy to tell you how it could be, and that's because first of all, Bill Torrey has this incestuous relationship with Jigs going back to those Islander days. And secondly, generally speaking, the Wayne and the Wayne Hypinga organization, even though Dean Jordan isn't here anymore, they're into old hacks. That's generally speaking what they've been bringing in, with the exception, of course, of my close, best personal friend, Jeff Rimmer. You know what I'm talking about? Now, don't you start in with Rimmer, okay, who I happen to be taking to dinner tonight at a very expensive restaurant, which I won't mention until tomorrow. But nevertheless, are you going to start in on him again, George?
Uh-huh.
Yes, you are. Oh, so before we get back to Jigs McDonald, here's a mobile and cross, and see, you didn't do the phone. See, it doesn't. It's a good thing we did a little test there. I don't want to take calls yet anyway, but it's a good thing. Too bad you're out, whoever called on the mobile. George didn't reset the phone. Okay, here we go. Phone reset time. WQAM. Or incompetence, cheap, Beasley sucked, Greg reads a puck. We got to go through this every day just to try to put a few calls on here. Okay, before we get back to Jigs McDonald and all these other things, all of these things, and even before I get into that, I got to preempt that. We owe an apology. I say we, not me. And thanks, by the way, to the caller who at least tried. I wish we would have had more callers yesterday to alert the people out there. See, I've told you for a year and a half now that if you listen to this radio station, unless you're a professional sports nerd and there's some information you want, unless it's on this show and I can get it off the TV set here, off CNN or something, you're not going to find out about it. They could be poisoning the water in Homestead, and this would be the last place you'd find out about it. Driving home yesterday up the turnpike, remember we had the call from the one guy? Did you see it?
No, I don't. I don't go that way.
Oh, the traffic was backed up for miles. There was a wreck. Somebody had actually gone through the median, and there's just a mess, a nightmarish mess. I would say south of Hollywood Boulevard exit, and the traffic was backed up well beyond Griffin Road coming southbound. And of course, luckily, I'm going northbound, and I'm thinking to myself, and they've got it, the traffic blocked off, and they're making them exit on Hollywood Boulevard. But why are they letting people on north of there? Do you know what I'm saying? Why are they letting people get on there so they can get locked up? I mean, some of you people out there just must be psychotic at this point. I've never seen it like that anywhere. Backed up for miles. And did we really have anything on it on this radio station?
No.
How about our crack traffic people that we must have some kind of a deal with, even though they don't work here between 10 and 2? But you would think that they might have alerted us yesterday. You traffic people suck! Okay? Whatever service we got, which they're all the same in this town because they're all full of crap and they're all way behind the time. And every time they tell you there's a wreck, you drive through there and you say, what wreck? Because it was cleaned up a half an hour. That's how far behind they are because they're probably reading it out of a newspaper somewhere. But that we apologize profusely on behalf of the ineptitude of this radio station and our traffic service, whoever the hell they are, for not alerting you yesterday to a mess. I actually felt bad about it. You believe that?
No.
No, I did. I felt guilty. I felt
Shannon was stuck an hour and a half in it.
Yeah.
Showed up very
and
late
we should have
yesterday.
been on here repeatedly instead of just that one guy that called. We should have been repeatedly saying, stay off that southbound turnpike. If you do anything, just get the hell out of there and don't go anywhere near there. Did we do that?
No.
No, because, and how come nobody else called except that one guy? Probably afraid to run their battery down, probably to unplug their cell phones and just, man. How long was she stuck?
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half in that mess. How do you like that?
Which meant we only got to see her for 5 minutes.
And by the way, before I forget, her birthday's tomorrow. Happy birthday, Shannon. Well, I'll do it today and again tomorrow, but I might forget. Although I'm sure you won't allow me to forget. So here's the worst mother story in the history of the human race. See, George and I had this contest. It's an ongoing contest. He insists that his mother is the most relentless bitch of all time. And I tell him, you're not even in the contest. She's not even in the running. So anyway, I told you the story about my TV set, and I also want to tell you that the Hitachi Ultravision, I'm becoming more attached to it by the minute. I've never seen a picture like that in my life, now that I have adjusted right. So the guy that called and told me it's not in the same league with the Sony XPR, you're right, it's much better. The picture is unbelievable. I love it. I'm squeezing it, and the TV too. But they did come from Art to repair the Sony XPR, which is still a hell of a good set, and sitting in another room right now. And so my mother was kind enough to come to my house and TV sit while the repairman was coming, since they were coming between noon and 4. Although it would have been a good idea to take off from work because the TV repairman was coming, but that's a little cheesy to do, don't you think?
Uh-huh.
So she's house sitting. And then, of course, since I usually go to my mother's house on Wednesdays lately for lunch, it was Wednesday yesterday. I said, you can make lunch in my house and we'll eat there, and then you can get your ass out of there. So I get home yesterday at 2:32. And she says, oh, Fat Rich just got off the phone. He just called to see if you're going to the track tonight, blah, 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 blah. And yes, I was going, so I didn't need to call him back. Now, keep that in mind for later in the story. Now, the TV guy's already been there. It turned out it wasn't the picture tube hadn't gone out or any of the, whatever the tubes are. It was that some things inside the set had gotten disconnected, and it looks fine. Fixed the thing. Thank you very much, by the way, repairman from Mart, who's also a big groupie. So we sit down and we're having lunch, and out of nowhere, in the middle of all the other nagging that goes on that I'm used to, that never ends, never stops. Why didn't you fix that door? Why didn't you do that? That just never stops. Now that's small stuff. So in the middle of having lunch, I found a Snickers wrapper. Are you crazy? What are you eating crap like that for? Now, first of all, she doesn't know that I ate it. It could have been John, who's got this hysterical psychosis for candy, although I think Snickers is out of his league. He's usually into something more exotic like Perugina and stuff like that. But nevertheless, it could have been him that ate it, or anybody else that stopped by the house. Could have been a bunch of other people. But she's right. I ate it, and I'm not going to deny it. And I said to her, since he's fat, a hell of a lot fatter than I am anyway, I said, you're a good one to talk, addicted to chocolate, number one. And she's saying this as she's sitting there drinking ginger ale with sugar in it. Remember that comment a couple of weeks ago at lunch I talked about? I like sugar. Yeah, but I'm diabetic, Ma. Stop force-feeding it on me. She likes sugar, and she's giving me a lecture. So I said, you're not eating all this crap all the time? Well, but I don't pretend to be on a diet. I said, when did I say I was on a diet? Have I said I'm on a diet anytime recently? No. I do the Atkins for about 2 or 3 hours a day after I wake up. So anyway, keep that in mind. Now, Fat Rich had just called only seconds before I came in. I go to the track last night. I don't think I'm prepared to tell this. You're not going to believe this. Now, she doesn't know Fat Rich from that cup you got sitting over there on the counter. She just knows him barely. Whether she's ever spoken to him, I guess before, when I've been on vacation, she's been in the house, he's called. In other words, over the phone. She knows him about as much as you know somebody passing in the night. So he tells me at the track last night that he calls there looking for me to say, if you're not going to show up, call me because I'm going to be at the track tonight, et cetera, and so on. She says, I was rummaging through the garbage, and I found a Snickers wrapper. How do you like that? That's the kind of lunatic I got here. She was rummaging through my garbage and found a Snickers wrapper.
What was she hoping to find?
I don't know, but I'm going to tell you one thing. Next time she's there, I'm going to make sure that there are a lot of other things that she'll find. Things that ordinarily wouldn't be in the house, but I'll make sure I can find them somewhere. Oh, even better than that. She was rummaging through my garbage and found a Snickers candy bar wrapper And she's telling this to somebody that she doesn't even really know. It would be like if somebody called and it was a wrong number. Oh, by the way, before you go, my son is Neil Rogers, and I was rummaging through the garbage and I found a Snickers candy bar wrapper. You see what an asshole he is? And this is also on the day, by the way, that I left her a nice check that I give her every month, and the check for the maintenance fee on the condo that I bought for her, and the car that I bought for her cash that she drives home in. Left the check there on the counter for her also. Yes, they just mentioned that in passing, which she did thank me for, you understand, but she was rummaging through my garbage. So anyway, is there any contest anymore, George?
I don't think my mom has ever rummaged through the garbage.
Okay.
But she does tell strangers every horrible
10
thing
past
she's ever
10
done.
at 560 WQM if you're...
Hey, Neil. Fuck you.
Feeling sexy? Feeling kinky? Feeling old? Then come into Fredericks of Hollywood, Florida. Retirement haven to the elderly. So you wear a plastic hair bonnet when it's sunny out and a fur coat during the summer. Big deal. That doesn't mean you can't don some crotchless panties and a barbed wire bra tonight.
What, honey, look at these rubber panties. You'd look great in these.
No, Grandma, check out this G-string and see-through halter top combination. Wow.
Oh, that is nice, dear. I can see myself really getting into that little number. Can't you?
Bring the husband, bring your family, bring your bed nurse, and come into Fredericks of Hollywood, Florida. Look for one in the retirement community near you.
Oi!
10:15 at 560 WQAM. Jigs McDonald to join Panthers on the radio, and it's amazing to me that for some reason this story shows up first in the Palm Beach Post. Brian Big Game, Palm Beach Post staff writer, which I have the first page of it, but nobody bothered to give me the second page, which is interesting. But thanks for somebody sending me the first page a copy of over here. What about the second page of it? Not that I really need the rest, because I know Jigs McDonald like the back of your ass. Not a bad guy. He's a good guy. Like I said, he once gave me a plug on his Fox national or regional. There were like 5 people watching, really. But he still gave me a plug for being a hockey maven here in South Florida and promoting the Panthers when he was doing a Panther game on Fox. So I should be very nice to the Jigs, but the fact is I don't operate that way. This is not personal. This is business. And the fact is, he's an old fuddy-duddy who was chased out to Toronto after 1 year, as I predicted. Jigs McDonald, a member of the Hockey Hall of Fame who broadcast 3 of the Islanders' 4 Stanley Cup championships in the early 1980s, will be named the Florida Panthers radio play-by-play voice today.
Oi!
It says in the Palm Beach Post. For some reason, our other papers here in Dade and Broward missed this story. How do you like that? As usual, they're too busy making stuff up and hyperventilating about, the lawsuits with this one and that one and Radio Whackfin, which ain't even on the air yet. McDonald, a part-time resident of Hutchinson Island in Martin County, replaces Chris Moore, who resigned last spring to accept an offer from ESPN. Now, I will say this. We're definitely upgrading. Of course, they could have brought in a dead monkey and we'd have been upgrading from Christina Moore, but nevertheless. And I know Geldy's upset. He was in here. We had a little chat this morning because he wanted a job, and I was pushing him to do it because, that's what they should do. It's a relatively new team. They've only been in existence 6 years. Instead of bringing in another tired old hack, bring in somebody new, somebody young, somebody who knows the game, somebody who's got great enthusiasm, somebody who's got a voice that, may be bad for talk shows, but still would be good for hockey. And do they do it? No, they bring in this guy because, again, Bill Torrey's got an incestuous relationship. Most of the broadcasters that have been hired in the sports teams down here have, like Bill Zimfer, there's a classic example for you. Why? Because Dean Jordan knew him from back at Penn State. So they had this incestuous suckhole relationship. And not that Zimfer is bad. He's not a bad guy. He's kind of, but he's got that staccato like out of a computer. And like Hank said the other day, nobody knows who he is. If you held a gun to 50 people's head at Dayland right now and you said, name me the play-by-play announcer for the Dolphins, they couldn't do it. They'd all go, yeah. And they'd say, oh, yeah, Jim Mandich. No, he does the color on the games. You know what I'm saying? All right. He'll be here at 2, by the way. Hank is on vacation again? Is that the deal?
Uh-huh.
Today and tomorrow? You think I get a lot of vacation time. He came back, did a few shows, and said, that's it, I'm out of here. Nice going, Hamper. But, they bring this guy in who's an old hack, 60 years old. Began his hockey broadcasting with the LA Kings in 1967, moved on to the Expansion Flames in 72, and then, of course, he was hired by Islanders GM Bill Torrey. And then he went on to, after he got canned there, after he moved out of that spot, He kind of wandered around, did some fill-in weekend stuff for Fox, a few games there, and then he wound up 2 years ago in Toronto. And at the time, I told certain people in the business, I said, he'll never last at all there. They'll chase his ass out of town. Because Toronto, of course, being a real hockey city, where they've had some of the greatest hockey broadcasters who ever lived, they're not going to put up with an old fuddy-duddy guy like this. And did they?
No.
1 year he was gone. They were carving him an ass in the Toronto papers. Where unlike here, where they suck everybody's ass. See, that's the problem with this town. Why can't we have some people who write columns about stuff? Why can't we have somebody instead of these kids, these children, these stringers, who really write, even if it's scathing stuff, even if they ripped me an ass, whoever it was, something, as opposed to about maybe once every 6 months an obligatory article when something major, gigantic that they can't evade and avoid happens. Every other major market, they've got people that write really insightful stuff about TV and even about radio. I hate to break the news to you here, guys. Even about radio. Even as weak of a radio market as this is. But no, nobody here is really dares to really have an opinion one way or the other. All they do is just report it, and that's it. Except for Barry Jackass, of course, who hopes we fall on our ass because we hate each other like poison, and he works for the Herald. So the Panther organization continues to go the old and fuddy-duddy way with people like this. And it is a step up from Christina Moron, and since most of the games are on television anyway, not too many people will be listening to Jigs, so maybe it doesn't make any difference, and I wish him all the best in the world because he'll need it. Toronto, they literally booed his ass out of town. They said, get this old fuddy-duddy man out of here. Bring Joe Bowen back on, not just on radio. We want him on TV during the weeknight games. They said, okay, stop with the bull crap already, okay? Just leave us alone. Goodbye, Jigs. Good luck to you. And now he winds up here. The rejects. Like Christina Moore, a reject even in New Jersey. When you get rejected in New Jersey, that's the ultimate slap in the face. And then they bring him here. So there you go. Not that anybody will care about that, because just like Donnie V, nobody here's got any clue about sportscasters, which I said yesterday. Why did I even bring that up with Hank the day before? What's the point? Nobody here knows anything about these people. Because these people are in la-la land here. Now, where's that thing about the cigars? Footy will be gloating about this. Wait till he finds out about this. The Federal Trade Commission, as part of this ongoing goody two-shoes America that you live in, asked Congress on Wednesday to mandate new health warnings on cigar labels and advertising to dispel the notion that cigars are a safer alternative to cigarettes. The FTC issued recommendations with 3 specific health warning labels and also urged a ban on television and radio cigar advertising.
Oy!
So I think Footy was right. If we plan on surviving based on some little mom-and-pop cigar stores here, on those $10 spots, we're in big trouble. Right, Footy? You asshole. Regular cigar smokers are at risk of mouth and throat cancer, similar to that of cigarette smokers, said FTC Chairman Robert Pitofsky. There may be people under the misimpression that if they switch to cigars, they're in safe harbors. How about if we just stop breathing, The air is loaded with all these pollutants. How about if we just stop breathing and certainly stop eating because our food is filled with all kinds of cancer-causing agents? I think we ought to stop allowing advertising for food because most of it is killing us. Won't that be next? Let's stop all food advertising. If they're going to be consistent, what's wrong with advertising cigarettes? Winston tastes good like a cigarette, like a cancer stick should. What's wrong with that? I like the Marlboro Man. A little too macho for me, but nevertheless. Out of that cowboy thing. What was wrong with the Marlboro Man? That was fun. They got the big skull and crossbones on there. Caution, the Surgeon General says you're going to die if you get near this stuff, but pick your poison. Stop trying to be goody two-shoes and stop putting on this phony act. Look at all the drugs that the FDA has approved that have killed people. How about fen-phen? Forget about going back to thalidomide and all the other ones. How about fen-phen? Maybe we made a mistake. We acted too hastily here. It happens all the time. Your government in action. So now we got to have, that's right, they have the power to require labels on its own, but opted instead to refer its recommendation to Congress. Most cigar boxes already include a label required under a settlement of a California court case which says the product contains or produces chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects and other reproductive harm. But they want more strongly worded warnings, such as, warning, regular cigar smoking can cause cancers of the mouth and throat, even if you do not inhale. Why, do we have warnings on the food that we eat that they can cause cancer, even if we don't inhale? I've never seen any.
No.
Or that can cause fat.
Yeah, cause you to get fat and a heart attack and strokes and diabetes and die a premature death and go clog all your arteries. Do we have warnings about that?
No.
Let's just have warnings on everything. Because basically what the government is really saying in their hypocritical way is that we're all a bunch of simpletons and we can't make our own choices. Just like with marijuana, they've determined that it's an evil substance that's certainly a gateway to all these other evil things, just like drinking a glass of Mogan David wine on Passover will certainly make you a chronic alcoholic and a member of AA for life. They've decided that. See, I don't know about you, but I don't want a government that's going to decide everything I put in my mouth. Oh, gee, that was a bad choice of words, wasn't it? You know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They're going to decide what we're going to eat, what we're going to watch, what we're going to think, what we're going to smoke. I like a good cigar, okay? And whether we have a sponsor or not, as we happen to now, a damn good one. But even if we didn't, I don't give a crap. I still occasionally like a good cigar, whether my mother likes it or not. And by the way, Ma, I won $35 at Pompano Park last night. That's another thing she's giving me a lecture on. Oh, you don't have to go on the air and tell people how much you lost at the track. Big gambler, Neil Rogers. I won $35 at Pompano last night.
Oh!
There you go, Ma. And quit rummaging through my goddamn garbage. What kind of, seriously, I hate to go back to that again. I might just dwell on this for 4 hours. What kind of a person tells a virtual stranger, much less anybody else, that she was rummaging through my garbage and found a Snickers bar wrapper? How do you like that? Ooh. Wow.
At least your mom can cook.
Yeah, that's true.
Never had an edible meal for
you know
my
something, it
mother.
doesn't make any difference. You're not missing for good food, okay?
Not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, if cooking is a compensation, cooking a good meal is a compensation for incessant nattering, nagging, and doing unacceptable things like scouring through my garbage. And, of course, I can just imagine all these times we've gone on vacation and she's there babysitting the dogs. I can imagine there isn't anything in that house that hasn't had her fine finger on it, in it, around it, through it, underneath it, etc. Which is great. I'm going to start leaving all kinds of wild pornography around.
I got some used condoms.
Let's get some of those. Let's have Al Goldstein send us every pornographic thing that he ever had possession of in his life, and I'll just start scanning. She'll probably like it. Oh yeah. Oh, Nels, can I come over and watch the dogs again this weekend? She was going through my garbage. As long as I live, this is one I'll never forget. 27 after 10 at 560 WQM. You want to make some big money? Head for a Hollywood Seminole game. You don't have to go all the way to Vegas. And you certainly don't have to throw away your money on those lottery tickets because the jackpot keeps getting bigger, but your chances are still non-existent. But Hollywood Seminole Gaming's got a lot of winners. In fact, a lot of six-figure winners this year already. Hollywood Seminole Gaming's got 550 gaming machines paying out the big bucks, 48 round-the-clock poker tables always going strong, featuring all the classic poker games like Omaha High-Low, Texas Hold'em, 7-card stud, and their many weekly poker tournaments and daily mini-tournaments can also make you a winner. And this is the same woman, by the way, that was taking Mondo bread to her upstairs neighbor who's diabetic and has diabetic neuropathy, who's losing the feeling in his legs, and taking sugar to him.
Neil, God. What kind of baggage will you be checking on today, sir?
Well, I have this case of the fear of abandonment, a carry-on with some paranoia, and this duffel bag stuffed with homosexual tendencies.
Welcome to Abnormal Airways.
Today on our flight, we'll be cruising at a nice, comfortable altitude of 55 feet. That's due to my extreme fear of heights. If you look out our right window now, you'll be able to see the right wing searing off treetops as we travel along at our cruising altitude. Enjoy the flight.
The airline whose staff and clientele are chock full of problems.
In case of a water landing, I'll begin to hyperventilate, at which point a panic attack will set in, and I'll begin grasping dangerously for the neck of the person nearest me at that time. Seat cushions may be used as defense mechanisms, but I will then probably try to strangle you with the cord of the breathing tube that drops from overhead.
Fly Abnormal Airways.
I met my wife on this flight last week.
Last week, huh?
Yeah, she is dead now, though.
And experience the mental skies.
10:32 at 560 WQAM. Here's Coral Springs. Hello. Coral Springs.
Hello, Neil. How you doing?
Sir. Okay.
I'm sorry, but I have to vent on the Kennedys or I'll kill a poster.
Okay. Let me just tell you right now, and that's my fault for not saying this. I have an interesting article which somebody faxed me yesterday, but now I have the whole thing by, what's his name? Rick Stengel from Time Magazine. I may read it later on, maybe not, depending on whether we get any calls today, which we probably won't because there's nobody in town. But I don't want to hear the K word today, okay? I don't want to hear about John Jr. or Sr. or Ted. I don't want to hear it. I won't tolerate it. I mean, it was bad enough, I thought, on Monday that I wound up wasting the whole 4 hours about that. And then I wound up again on Tuesday and again yesterday because I'm just so incensed about the fact that these are crazy people in the media. And a lot of you people are just as crazy as they are. Wrapped up in horse crap. In minutia. But I'm not going to listen to that again today. If that's all you people got to talk about, have a nice day. See you some other day. Well, I don't want to hear it. I'd rather hear about Cuba. I'd rather hear the C word, whichever one you want to talk about, than the K word today. Don't want to discuss it. I've said everything that I could possibly say, and I only want to just multiply it times 10, and then you'll understand how I feel about it. I'm not going to change my mind. If you're one of those simpletons out there that's in mourning and looking to find a piece of the ashes in the water, well, be my guest. Go have a good time. We're not going to change each other's mind. And like I've said before, there's nothing to me worse than boring the audience, and God only knows in talk radio, I don't want to mention any names, but in talk radio, there's certainly plenty of boredom to go around. You know what I'm saying? Including a lot of the callers out there, the regulars especially, the chronics that put you into an immediate coma just thinking about the sound of their voice, much less hearing it. Oh, this thing with a I don't want to hear about it, sir. I can't. I'm oversaturated. If I hear the name one more time, I'm just going to burst. Here's Virginia Key. Hello.
Hey, good morning, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I got a couple things. One, concerning cancer of the mouth, I have to say that it happened in my family. My father barely smoked one cigar, if that, every couple months, but he always would keep it in his mouth. The thing that's the problem is if you're not smoking it, take it out of your mouth, because if it's making physical contact with the inside of your mouth, you can get a type of cancer called squamous cell carcinoma.
Oh, bad news.
Right, and he had squamous cell carcinoma, and he actually survived squamous cell carcinoma. But he had a tumor that went from a grape to a grapefruit in 2 weeks.
Lovely.
Yeah, and the chemo was nasty, and everybody knows what that's like. So, it does happen, and if anybody out there is smoking cigars, don't leave it in your mouth. When you're done smoking it,
that's what I always say. When you're done with it, get it out of your mouth right away. And the cigar too.
And also, I hope you don't jump on me.
I doubt it.
You questioned yesterday as to drug use in the White House during the I can't say the name's time in office.
Yeah.
Yes, he actually was notorious for having backroom LSD parties supplied by the same.
JF.
That's true.
Yeah.
Supplied by the same people who were doing the experiments on U.S. black GIs with it for parties, and actually there were quite a few notable people in government as well as notable people from Hollywood that were coming to those parties.
Yeah.
So, yes, they were having bacchanalian parties at the White House.
Well, there you go.
And that's it.
But don't mention that who it was.
That's right.
We don't want to burst these people's bubbles. Have a great day, pal.
You too.
And keep that thing out of your mouth. Yeah, it says they want to put a warning on. Regular cigar smoking can cause cancers of the mouth and throat, even if you don't inhale. Warning, inhaling cigar smoke can cause lung cancer. The more deeply you inhale, the greater. First of all, I don't know anybody who inhales cigars. Do you? Have you ever? I've never inhaled a cigar in my life. I smoked a few packs of cigarettes a day when I was in college, and then gave it up because they used to tear up my throat. But inhaling cigars, to me, it's just ludicrous on the face of it. And also, they want to put on warning, cigars are not a safe alternative to cigarettes. Norman Sharp, president of the Cigar Association of America, says cigar smokers tend to be well-educated, well-informed individuals. Sharp cited surveys referred to in the report showing that the vast majority of cigar smokers smoke only occasionally, and by the way, don't inhale. They don't inhale, and they smoke only occasionally, and you can get cancer from some of the foods you eat, from the water that you drink, from the polluted air that we're breathing, from a zillion different things. But we're living in an increasingly repressive country where they more and more want to take all your choices away and make everything against the law. That's the worst part. Make everything illegal. You can't advertise it, you can't talk about it, and then eventually, pretty soon they'll come with the day, you can't buy them anymore except maybe on the black market.
How about cars? Do we put warning labels on the windshield?
We put it right on the goddamn ass end of the car. It says, don't get too close to the ass end because that carbon monoxide will get you every time. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Here's a mobile in North Miami Beach. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
To respond to what you're saying about the advertising for cigars, I don't understand the hypocrisy of the government, because this is one thing that really frosts me quite a bit. The cigars are legal, as are cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how you prohibit somebody from advertising illegal products.
Exactly, that's right.
If you don't want them, then pass a law, which I don't agree with. I mean, I'm opposed. I don't smoke, and I don't like being around people who smoke.
No, but I know what you're saying, and you're absolutely correct. If they're that evil, then how come the government not only subsidized the tobacco growers for years, but has got no interest, evidently, in making them illegal? Well, first of all, they know it's never going to work, number one. It'll create a tremendous black market, number two.
And what about the taxes they collect?
And number three, the billions of dollars in taxes they collect.
Billions. It's unbelievably hypocritical. I don't understand who sits there and makes these decisions.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
A bunch of bureaucrats who have to, make it look like they're doing something to protect the public, the ignorant public.
Right, but I mean, we shouldn't tackle, well, it's a whole other issue. The government is always right, and whatever they do is right.
That's right. They're always looking out for our best interest, right? Anybody believe that?
Absolutely insane.
And have a great day, sir. And put that thing away. By the way, here's Woody Graber, who's still living in a time warp, still living back in Woodstock from '69. Still looks every part, got that silly tie on, fatter than ever, by the way. You're ballooning up like like Beefo. You and Beefo ought to get together. We could have the Beefo and after pictures. Look at his phone, man. Dead as a doornail. 567-0560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. Going to be a heavy-duty music day today, I can see. I can sit back and relax before my visit to my brand-new doctor this afternoon, who's going to probably take 2 or 3 pints of blood. Yeah, I found a real doctor, by the way. And also, did we ever get a response to that message I left on the other doctor yesterday? Did we get a response to that? No, that's okay. See, that's why I needed to go out and find a real doctor who's got like a real office and a real secretary, and they really answer the phone and, little things like that.
Floridians, dumb as dirt.
Hello, I'm Roger Strange for the Mystery Garden, and today we'll discover the mystery about tomatoes. Nothing excites me more than walking through my vegetable garden and seeing the fruits of my labor come to maturity, this, the beloved tomato. Look at this firm, round jewel. Look at the texture of the meat. It's sweet, succulent, soft skin. It's plump, red, juicy inside. Oh, God! Oh! Well, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to take this copy of Tomato Monthly into the privacy of my bathroom quarters and finish up. This is Roger Strange for the Mystery Garden.
Squirt. 1044 and 560 WQM. So anyway, Woody Graber's in here, as I mentioned. I just handed him one of these Perdomo Square, the great new cigar from Nick's, and of course we can't let him up in here because we don't want to get the powers that be very upset because they're into this non-smoking building environment, which is totally unacceptable to us. It's a pile of crap. And I have one in my hand right now, too, even though I'm not going to light it up in here. But I just have it in my hand as kind of a silent protest to more of this bureaucratic horse crap. Everybody trying to tell us what to do. Everything is bad for us. Don't promote it. Don't advertise it. Well, if you're going to let people be in business, how can you tell them they can't promote their product? You can't have it both ways. And by the way, and of course I know they took heavy booze advertising off TV, but what about beer? We got plenty of sloppy drunks out there who never drank any hard alcohol, but who get sloppy drinking their 3 and 4 6-packs. In fact, there's some guys I know get sloppy as hell drinking 2 beers. Some silly people. We're going to make that illegal? No, because then all the sports leagues would go out of business. You're just a bunch of hypocritical goody two-shoes. And by the way, isn't this interesting coming from a government where the president loves that good cigar, okay? What he does with it is his business. You know what I'm saying?
When Monica Lewinsky wants a great big stick, she goes down and gets it at next.
Yeah, and she might do that too when you come right down to it. We got a president who loves a good big fat round one, okay, and a nice cigar every now and then too. And we got the FCC telling us, we got to put these warning labels on there, and we want to ban cigar advertising. It's not a safe alternative to cigarette smoking. Maybe we're not looking for a safe alternative. It was okay for George Burns. He made it till about 150 years old. And Weinstein Churchill. And like I said the other day, I saw that picture last weekend in one of the tabloids. Here's the oldest living person in North America. She's 122 years old. And the photograph, she's got a faggot burning in her hand and a cigarette too. How do you like that? 122 years old. Here's Plantation. Hello.
Hello.
Yes,
Neil.
sir. Yes, I am.
Neil, since you went away on vacation, your last vacation, Not one word has been on the radio or on television about those police that were pimping those girls out.
Yeah.
Those minors.
Well, of course not, because they've buried the story. It's very nicely covered up, and we hear all this crap about, the last, even on our local channels. That was a very major local scandal story, and like I said at the time, somebody's getting paid off somewhere, and they covered it up, and you'll never hear another word about it.
And then the two sons from Hialeah, those guys, they're probably going around intimidating potential witnesses. So that story's been buried.
Great.
And
by the way, a week from today is the penny sales tax election. Just saying.
No.
Okay?
That's what I was just going to tell you about. Did you see the ads that they're putting out on that?
Yeah, I've seen that, of course.
Now, you know what? I don't live in Dade, and I'm in Broward, but if they were to close the booth, all the booths, and fire all the toll collectors on the 29th, if it passed, then it would pass. But those booths are going to be there for years after that penny tax is on. There's no way they're going to do away with those toll booths.
Okay.
Take care.
Have a great life, sir. Here's another fax from somebody, Tim, who says he's opposed to the penny sales tax, et cetera, and so on. That's right. I'm doing a hell of a public service because a week from today, 7 days you got to get your brains together, okay? And to get everybody you know who's registered to vote in Dade County out next Thursday to say to Mayor Penis and this fraud they're trying to perpetrate again on the public with all the lies. And with the help, by the way, of most of the wimps in the media in this town. You are a disgrace! You're a disgrace! Putting these ads on TV showing the worst traffic jams. I know it's the third most congested place in America, and then, of course, doing that thing with increasing the tolls just at a time with very little advance warning to make people frustrated and psychotic. That's your government at work. Creating as much psychosis for you as they possibly can, as much hassle to get you frustrated so that you'll say, okay, whatever you want. Like that one guy said that they showed on the news. Okay, 1%, 2%, whatever you want. Just get rid of these tolls. And as I said at the time, as somebody who uses the turnpike virtually every day of my life, there are no long lines, there's no major hassle, there's no big song and a dance. Life goes on. It's not the end of the world. And the people who use it are the ones who should and are paying for it. Not all the taxpayers who don't even use those roads. What about the people who live in North Dade, for example? Who have nothing, who never even encounter those toll booths, or maybe once or twice a year for the 50 cents or $1 that I might save them. What about those people? Should those people have to pay an increased sales tax?
No.
No. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Long-time listener since Zeta, first-time caller. You're the only thing on radio worth listening to in this town.
You can say that again, man.
Two things.
Yes.
I'm driving around downtown. I'm enjoying a San Luis Rey that was made in that country that begins with C.
All right.
Nobody's going to make me stop smoking it. I don't chew on it when I'm not smoking it. I'm not going to get mouth cancer. And ever since Stan King shot Harvey Milk, we've had the Twinkie defense, and we've had Richie Zamora, and we've had the safety Nazis, as the motoring press likes to call them, who want to protect us from ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't know that you've ever referred to them as the safety Nazis, but here they go. They ride again.
The pleasure police.
Absolutely. I guess that's what Cigar Dave calls them on that other station. But I just want to tell you, you're the standard bearer. You're the voice of reason, the voice of sanity. Don't ever let them shut you up.
Okay.
Shameless request.
Yes,
you
sir.
still got Rock to Jew?
You got it.
All right. Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.
That's right. Cigars are dangerous. They're hazardous to your health. Sugar, of course. Let me tell you this. I'll say it again. Sugar is killing more people than cigarettes and cigars put together every year in this country. Are they banning that?
No.
Are they going to put? Are they prohibiting advertising of products containing sugar?
No.
Of course not. That's a joke. They'd have to ban almost every food product in America. Not even a contest. People don't get fat on cigars. People don't get heart disease. People don't get clogged arteries. People don't get strokes from smoking cigars. And yes, smoking cigars isn't a good thing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it is, especially when Nick's is the next spot coming up. I'm not going to tell you, and even during the spots, how many times have I said, if you want to grow a nice big tumor, keep puffing away on a whole bunch of cigars. Very few people that I know are compulsive cigar smokers who smoke them like cigarettes. Nobody that I know chain smokes cigars. Like one after another after another. There are plenty of people out there who smoke 2 and 3 packs of cigarettes a day. Are there any people out there that smoke like 5 and 10 and 15 cigars a day? Have you ever met anybody like that?
No.
I mean, maybe there are some of them out there somewhere. In fact, the people in show business that always had a cigar in their hand, you notice they were never lit. They were like a prop, like George Burns. I mean, always had a cigar, but they were never lit. because they were talking anyway. And as you know, if you are a cigar smoker, when you're talking and try to keep a cigar lit, no matter how good the cigar is, it ain't going to stay lit forever, okay? It's going to go out, unless you're puffing on it, and the stogie too. Just astonishing how wonderful this government is, how full of crap, how hypocritical. Don't do as we do, do as we say. In fact, maybe they can just sell them as dildos now. Although they might cause vaginal cancer if you leave it in there too long. Or maybe even rectal cancer, all depending on where the president's sticking it.
Not if you leave them in the wrapper.
Yeah, but Luther gets pissed off if you leave it in him too long. Here's a mobile in the Keys. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Long-time listener from your old Tampa days.
I could have said the hammer gets upset, but they might have thought it was the wrong hammer. Yes.
Yeah, nothing on the radio over there still. You were talking about the cigars and stuff, and I was thinking how over in Clearwater now, we've got the swimsuit police that are running over. They've got a very strict definition of how much, cleavage or rear end is supposed to show. Nobody's being robbed or murdered or killed in anything in Clearwater.
Mm-hmm.
There's so little crime now, they're running around.
Hey, listen, in Hollywood here for years, we've had the T-shirt police. If you're wearing a T-shirt out there that Mayor Galante gets pissed off about, they're going to throw your ass in jail for that, too. Life is a beach. Oh, my God, straight to jail. We don't want to offend any old farts.
Boy! Unbelievable. Hey, I have a shameless request for you.
Yes, sir?
Would you play the bagpiper guy, the Scottish guy, talking to the kid about the bagpipe?
I'll think about it.
Thanks, Neil.
Have a great day, sir.
Bye.
Okay. 567, look at this phone, man. I'll tell you, it's cleared out. You should have seen our crowd at Pompano Park last night. Me and Rich and about 10 other of our best close personal friends. That was pretty much it. 567-0560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how are you?
Okay, sir.
Just wondering, you remember Merritt Sterheim back in the 70s talking to China about sales tax for Metro Rail?
Sir, that's what I just got through saying, yes.
What the hell ever happened to that money?
What do you mean whatever happened to it? They wasted $1 billion of money to build a piece of crap that you got now that nobody rides.
And now he was on channel...
And they didn't give you all the buses that they lied about then that they were supposed to give us. These buses that they're promising now, they were supposed to come with the first $1 billion boondoggle.
It's just amazing. And he was on Channel 10 this morning, and I can't believe Channel 10 put him on there to propose and advertise for that 1% sales tax hike.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Now they're going to give Richard Friedman equal time to go on there and talk, because I know Channel 10 is editorializing against it.
They're against it?
Let me say it again. They've run an editorial opposed to the penny sales tax, yes.
Excellent. That's a wonderful thing.
But I'm certainly hoping that if they're giving shills like Merritt Sterheim opportunity to go on here, and you notice now I'm hearing they're on Zeta, they're on with this one. Of course, they won't come on this. They won't even ask to come on this station because we'd laugh them out of the goddamn building, and they know that they'd get one hell of a time on this show.
It's just amazing. Great, Neil.
Have a great day, pal. Just remember, sir.
No.
2 easy letters. N. Oh! That's all.
No.
1 week from today. They've lied to you and conned you and tried every way in the world to try to frustrate you and aggravate you, and then to turn around and say, oh, well, if you don't want this, and then that bull crap about the goddamn, Expressway Authority. Whatever the hell they call it. The MDX, the MT, whatever they call that thing. Thanks, Woody. Have a great day. Enjoy that cigar. Gave Woody a nice cigar. He's going to light it up as soon as he gets outside. He's going to light that thing up and start a bonfire with it. Don't get that ponytail on fire, by the way. Yeah, that's right. Let's ban cigars. Let's ban spaghetti. Let's ban sugar. Let's ban everything. Cigarettes, alcohol, booze. Let's ban breathing the air. Let's ban cars. Cars kill people, okay? Now, guns, they're okay. Guns are fine.
There's no warning label on guns.
That's right. And the same kids that can go out and buy a gun, they can't buy a pack of cigarettes. Just stop and think about that. You want to know why? Because cigarettes kill people. They're dangerous. Ever see anybody point a lit cigarette at anybody else?
No.
Stick 'em up, baby. I got a Chesterfield here, man. Oh, speaking of that.
All right. Tight little island full of gay romance. They wear gay sandals and they wear tight pants. Sun-drenched top to bottom every day. Blessed with the miracle of being gay. The very best of faggots in the USA. Giving big, big pleasure in a big, big way. Oh! The very best of faggots in the USA. Giving big, big pleasure in a big, big way.
All right.
Chesterfield.
Join the big swish to Chesterfield's Queen, new choice of the fags of America.
And you know something, I better play that now while I still can, because if they find out we're playing something, even though it's a parody, promoting cigarettes or any kind of tobacco product, they'll probably come in here and shut the goddamn place down. You live in a police state. I've been telling you that for years, and people think, oh, that Neil, he's just such a character. He's such a... Yeah, police state. 10:56 at 560 WQAM. If you want a great cigar and you don't give a crap about the FTC or the FCC or the SCOUC or whatever it is, CK, then go to Nick's, all right? Because Nick's make you fantastic cigars, and if you don't overdo it, you probably won't get some big gigantic lump or tumor in your throat or on your tongue or on your lips or whatever, in spite of what my mother says, who's digging through the wastebasket looking for cigar stubs, no doubt. I got a stub for you, okay?
Jamaica, 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 Jamaica. Vena mola mola landa zitera fine. Jamaica, 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 Jamaica. Can the hoggy werden in Jamaica, me sugar werden in Jamaica, ik ga killer in Jamaica. Vena mola mola landa zitera shine. Rasta me, Rasta you. Rasta flag, Rasta Jew, Rasta Jew, hey! Rasta Jew. I say I and I say wo yo yo.
Oi!
How come you don't wear dreadlocks? I'm not that orthodox. I like Jimmy Cliff, and I like to smoke a spliff. I like man so bright. I am a Yiddish type of guy. Rasta me, Rasta you, Rasta black, Rasta Jew, Rasta Jew. Oh Lord, yes, Rasta Jew. I like goat soup, and I ride a motorbike. Chicken soup with Canada lack, that's what I like. Have you ever tasted bread, peas, rice and greens, plantain and gefilte fish? That's much more my speed. Rasta me, Rasta you, Rasta black, Rasta Jew, Rasta Jew. I want to tell you, Rasta Jew.
Oi! Oi!
I'm dying over here.
Who the hell are you?
Rasta me, Rasta you, Rasta black, Rasta Jew, Rasta Jew. Yes, man, Rasta Jew. What are you doing? It looks like you're smoking a newspaper. Why do you always keep your pants up? Why do I cook bananas? What are you crazy? Do you at least peel them first?
You know, I'm so sorry you just told me that. I'm channel surfing here during that thing, and I had CNN on there, and they're still on the business. And George says, oh, all the networks are on it, too. I mean, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. The morning TV shows are long since over with, am I right?
Uh-huh.
And they're still...
Fleeting moment earlier this morning.
I mean, I'm going to have to fight hard to resist the temptation to get started again. How many days, how many weeks, how many months does this go on? 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. We got 6,000 open lines here waiting on you. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about icons, you know.
God, was that pathetic or what? Was that pathetic?
Uh-huh.
56705, and you know how long he waited for that? That was, and plus it didn't even make it on the air. Not because it was pornographic, because it was just stupid. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hi, Neil. I'd just like to thank you and George for putting me on to the most logically and enlightening book I've ever read, Farewell to God by Templeton.
Well, they don't like it at the Sun-Sentinel, and I'll tell you that. The religion editor, he don't like it.
The thing about Galileo, remember that? It took the Vatican in 1991, they finally admitted that the Earth revolves around the sun rather than the sun revolving around the Earth.
Yeah, we know, pal. We know that.
Great book.
Okay. Okay, one more call, and then we can, or maybe is that it? Here's Miami. Hello. Miami. 36 seconds they waited, and that was our last call today, and they didn't talk. Okay, play some music, all right? Yeah, I'm not going to fight this. I mean, I realize there's nobody here with a brain and with an IQ larger than their thumbnail, but we're out of business. Get them off, okay? You've got the nerve to play them.
I forgot. Sorry.
Forget about that America Worst experience I had. 5670560 and pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. I guess I am going to read that article by that Casey Stengel guy from Time Magazine. I guess I will. Because these people don't want to talk about anything else, and maybe they don't want to talk about that either. I just can't imagine my spending the whole week on this thing when I'm sitting here screaming about the overkill on it. Pardon that expression. I'm going to have to spend the whole week because you people are got lockjaw and don't have anything else you want to talk about. And speaking of Cigar Dave, by the way, if this thing goes through, he's going to be out of business. I just mentioned that in passing, of course. My good close personal friend, Dave Zeppelin. Remember what they said down at Nick's about Cigar Dave? He's an asshole. That's what they said. Here's a mobile in North Miami. Hello. Mobile in North Miami.
Hi, Neil. How you doing?
Okay, sir.
I just wanted to tell you, I was listening not last night, but the night before to Phil Hendry. I listened to him on the computer.
Yeah.
About 3 times a week.
Are you sure?
You know,
yeah.
Absolutely, I'm sure. And whatever anybody said about anybody being better than him, there is never going to be anyone better than him except yourself, maybe. And you're just a different style.
Mm-hmm.
He had the funniest thing. He had a guy on who sounded very similar to somebody that used to come on his show here.
How do you like that?
He was a naval retired guy, and he was trying to describe that if they found the Kennedy body, part of it should be buried with John, part of it should be buried with his new wife.
Uh-huh.
And he was saying like an arm here and a leg there.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. The people in Los Angeles didn't quite understand, and they were calling up concerned.
Oh, I bet you they were psychotic about that.
Oh, how can you do
and
something like that?
And it's kind of ironic because this whole thing is costing the taxpayers an arm and a leg anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, it was really distressing to some of these people because they couldn't understand how you could. And if they only found 20% of the body, could you put 10% here and like 10% there?
Right.
And it was absolutely standard Phil, and it's a pity they can't put them on at 10 o'clock here instead of me listening on the computer half the night.
Yeah, well, why would you want to hear the great Phil Hendry when you can hear some silly gambling show for GA members, you know? Have a great day, pal.
You too.
Say hi to Phil. He's great. Yeah, the guy that called about Jim Phillips is better than Phil Hendry. We wouldn't even dignify that comment with a response anymore. That's how ludicrous that was right on the face of it. By the way, what kind of an operation? Not only don't we know about the traffic, but we have to get the information about Jigs McDonald was hired by the Panthers. This is your Panther flagship station, okay? This is supposed to be the big song and dance sports station that we're paying all that money for all those broadcast rights, and we have to find out from the Palm Beach Post that the Panthers have hired Jigs McDonald to be the radio play-by-play guy, which we're going to carry the games. Does that tell you all you need to know?
Yes.
We're clueless, man, and we're proud of it. Want to buy some spots?
No.
On the Marlin games?
No.
The
media is sick and needs help badly.
Hey there, this is Wisconsin Al for Trappin' Beaver. Hey, you know, I just got back from seeing Notting Hill. Now, what is the deal with that Julia Roberts lips? Does she have 2 bottom lips on that face of hers? Anyways, today we want to talk about the Y2K problem and what to do with that beaver you may have trapped during that time. You may discover that there is no power after December 31st. 31st. Now, there's two things you can do. You can build a wood fire in your backyard, and that may be possible, but you do need to expect to be eating some raw beaver during that time. And speaking from experience, raw beaver is pretty good. Right, Eddie? And you can learn more about this from getting my new book, Eating Beaver Raw. Hey, Eddie, that's not the beaver I was talking about. This is Wisconsin Al for Trapping Beaver. See you again.
11:15 at 560 WQM on a coma-inducing day here in the big city. Here's our last call. It's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to give my respect to the security officer that was shot on the Metro Rail. And I'd like to say I hope they catch that scumbag who shot him.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I'd say.
Okay, that takes care of our calls for the day. Thank you. It's been nice being with you. I guess I am going to read this thing by Rick Stengel from Time Magazine since you people have got nothing to say. And since I guess I can talk about this again today because there's nothing else that anybody has got any interest in. Boy, talk about a bunch of deadheads. Rick Stengel, who's an MSNBC contributor, by the way.
Boy!
Says, let the myth rest in peace, getting over our obsession with the Kennedy saga. This is from the internet from yesterday. Says, John Kennedy, he didn't use the middle initial or the junior, nor should we, was a smart, wry, charmingly self-deprecating man with one of the most famous last names in the world. He's died much too early. But please, let us not turn his death into something his life was not. Let us not turn it into the orgy of sentiment and commerce, of mindless mythologizing and cheap emotionalism that we saw with Princess Diana. Let us not make his funeral into some grand but ersatz state occasion presided over by solemn anchors looking for the right words. But I suppose that's impossible. Television, the only hearth we all gather around in moments of national import, will milk his death for all it's worth. It'll become a signature television event. Where were you when you heard yada, yada, yada? The anchors of the evening news and the morning shows are already sitting in their directors' chairs in high-end sport. They've already asked the excruciatingly indelicate questions that pass for journalism and asked them of people who are all too eager to answer and talk about what they hardly know or suspect. The carry-on birds have landed. The problem is we secretly like tragedy. The Greeks understood this and so did Shakespeare. Watching a tragedy unfold is cathartic for the viewers, especially since we can go home safe and sound afterwards. And if that tragic figure is already famous, well, that is the most media-combustible combination. Television and the tabloid press have made us a nation of voyeurs, and there's something profoundly and disturbingly absorbing about the funerals of the famous. Just try to stop people from watching. The relentless focus on John Kennedy's death shows our nation in its least flattering aspect. Note how the networks never omit the middle initial or the final junior. The attention paid to the Kennedy family reveals, once again, our vestigial longing for a royal family. That feeling is as old as the Republic. Many of the framers wanted to call the President of the United States His Highness or His Excellency. Fortunately, we opted for a more democratic title of Mr. President. But we create royalty where it did not exist before. We see it in our current presidential race where the two early frontrunners are both of early political dynasties. George W. Bush is the son of one president. Al Gore, who holds the job that was considered heir apparent by the founders, is the son of a distinguished senator. The whole point of America was to rid ourselves of aristocratic privilege, and here it is sneaking back due under the guise of democracy. And it's our own apathy and disengagement that's to blame. Our addiction to the Kennedy family is both undemocratic and infantilizing. How many times have we already read about the curse or myth of the Kennedys? The curse is in part the result of a bunch of young men who have a predilection for doing some very dumb things, like skiing backwards or flying after dark on a hazy night without being an experienced enough pilot. The Greek analogies of Icarus, whose hubris caused him to fly too close to the sun and melt his wings. The ancient Greeks understood that a curse was not something outside of us, but something we do to ourselves. The myth of the Kennedys is one that we create ourselves, and we can instantly end it simply by not believing in it. Let us do so now. Camelot was a post-assassination public relations invention of Jackie Kennedy and Teddy White. Democracies do not have crown princes. Let his family quietly bury a graceful young man. Let us bury our absorption with his family. It's a sign of our adolescence as a nation that we turn our leaders into celebrities, and they look for some cosmic meaning in the death of a young man who was still trying to find himself. The myth is not healthy for us as a nation, nor for all those Kennedy boys who believe in it and then wound up themselves in their desperation to live up to it. Our obsession with this kind of thing speaks to a lack in our own lives. It's a desperately sad event for those closest to him, but let us not turn it into the mania of the grieving that we saw in England over Diana. That suggested a nation of people whose lives only had meaning when linked, however distantly, to some symbolic figure. When your life is too small, you look for something grand to attach it to. Let's just make our lives a little larger instead. John Kennedy was ironic about the celebrity culture he was born into. He was partly amused by it, partly appalled by it, and he was just learning to convert it to his own advantage. I think he would have been alarmed by the media tempest. John Kennedy had dignity in life. Let us not take it from him in death. Let him rest in peace. Amen. Oh! Rick Stangl, senior editor at Time and a regular contributor to MSNBC on the Internet. Thank you, Rick Stangl. And an awful lot of those words sounded very familiar to what I've been saying the last 3 days and taking a lot of crap for saying it, because it happens to be true. Grow the hell up, okay, and stop running around bragging that you have no life and you have to live some vicarious existence through somebody else who was famous. God. Nice going, Rick, and thanks to whoever faxed me that again. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how are you?
Okay, sir.
Hope you don't mind me switching gears here on you.
Switching gears on what? We have no calls here today. I mean, any gear you go on to is okay with me.
Okay, I was
except liquor gear.
I just left my house and I was watching CBN this morning. I don't know if you ever watched that, like the 700 Club, how they try to disguise CBN to make it look like a real news program,
right,
like CNN or Dateline.
Yeah,
or
the
like
news
that.
through Christian
right, but they
distorted eyes.
They kind of hide it so that it looks like a real news program, and you don't even realize that you're watching a Christian broadcasting news network until 5 minutes into it or whatever, if you're just flipping around. That's just one point on it. The second thing was this morning they had like a 15-20-minute piece on homosexuality, and I was just
what a surprise!
They rebroadcast it. It's very interesting. They rebroadcast it, I think, at 11 o'clock, the same one tonight, if you're interested in it.
No, I don't think so. I think I'll pass.
But anyway, we were just talking about how they just had a bunch of people on there who converted, who were homosexuals, and they were saying that it's like it's like alcoholism, that you can change if you want. It was just pretty hilarious. I thought you might get a kick out of it. And they gave a log on to CBN now for
well, they better hope that we all don't convert, because if we do, they won't have any subject matter and no scapegoats anymore. So they better hope it doesn't happen.
That's all I got, Neil.
Okay, have a great day.
Right.
Okay, one call left on the board. I guess there are going to be no calls today. I guess I could go back into that John Henry thing too, but why waste my time when it's obvious there's nobody cares? 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's Pompano Beach. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I just wondered if you caught a show a few months back, John Stossel, their show on, you're talking about the government. They're going to put a tax on hamburger joints. They'd like to. Some politicians would like to put tax on
hamburger joints.
And this was a thing on 2020, and John Stossel did it. And I got pretty upset about that. And they had like 3 or 4 things. Another thing they had on was you're not allowed to smoke in a bar anymore. And these guys, all these in California or someplace, I can't remember where it was. And these guys are going broke because once they go out and have a drink, they can't have a smoke with it.
Right.
Well, the government just keeps telling us what to do. Maybe Ross Perot is right, saying the number one growth industry in this country is the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to go back and clean pool, so I'll talk to you later.
Okay, have a great day. Ross Perot's an asshole, okay, sir? 5670560, pound 5. We got to roll up our sleeves and do. That's not those old studies. Just dig them out and dust them off. They're all up there somewhere. Just roll up your sleeves and do. Look under the hood. If the engine ain't working, just look under the hood and fix it. Here was a man that talked more crap. I mean, it's just inconceivable to me that anybody could come on and just talk nonstop glittering generalities, which is why even a wooden statue like Al Gore decimated him when they had that debate. Remember that? Just made a monkey out of him. A fool out of him. Even Larry King, even that ass-sucking Larry who made Ross Perot into the whatever the hell it was that he became by putting him on there 50 million times, even he was astonished. Even he had to put his lip away for about 2 seconds. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
How are you, buddy?
Okay.
I'm going to change pace a little bit with you. Fish food.
Yeah.
Still on the diet, or are you eating it again?
I'm not eating any ice cream now, sir.
No more? You know the story behind fish and fish food?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Familiar with the band?
Yes.
Fan of them or no?
I beg your pardon? No, I'm
Are you
not.
a fan?
No,
not at all? Okay. I'm trying to keep it alive for you, Neil. Sorry.
Okay, have a great day. Oh, the pain is so great, and it's only 11:25. I think I need to go see that doctor right now. Like, tell him it's an emergency. I mean, I know it's boring as hell. Maybe that's why Hank went on vacation again, like just a few days after he came back from his last one. Jim Mandich today at 2.
Yes!
Maybe Joe Costello would like to do auto talk from now till 2 o'clock. Come on in here and take over. I'll sit over in the corner there going like that. I'll stick my thumb in my puss. Wow. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. It's sure great to be in South Florida in summertime, ain't it? Yeah! See, I realized, I never thought about it before until I went to the track last night, and the people there were moaning and groaning that there wasn't going to be anybody there, that because as a starting these last few days, this month, from like the middle of July until like, a month and a half till the end of August, this is the most deadly of them all in South Florida. They're all pretty deadly, but this is the all-time worst. And so as a result, must be just a coincidence. That's why the mayor decided July 29th on a Thursday, when we never have elections anyway on a Thursday, would be a really great day to sneak in an election there when he can get all his people down there and try to put over this penny sales tax. Anybody think so?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Like I said, Jim Mandich at 2. We got Talking Baseball with Donnie B, who wouldn't know a hockey announcer if they stuck his finger deep inside of his rectum. And then we got 6:30, the pregame, the Braves at the Marlins again tonight. Marlins won another game. Any interest?
No.
Want to build that stadium for John Henry?
No.
Who looks, by the way, in that picture in the paper today like he's sucking on a persimmon. Want to see John Henry sucking on a persimmon? Open up your whatever paper that's in today. Got a lovely picture of him with that big sucking look.
Talk dirty to me.
And now it's time for language lesson of the day. Repeat after me. Mi papá estaba en el baño, o está posible, algo está muerto ahí, which means my father must have been in the bathroom. Either that or something died in there. Hasta la bamba.
It's 11:31 at 560 WQAM. I think next time my mother comes over to babysit the dogs, instead of like leaving candy wrappers buried in the garbage, just to make sure she doesn't have to like go digging through the garbage, rifling through it, whatever the hell word was she used. I think what I'll do is leave some things out on the, but not the wrappers. I'll leave the candy bars out there, right on the kitchen table. You think they'll still be there when I get back?
No.
No. The same person that's trying to poison people with sugar that they're not aware of, like sticking sugar in a goddamn sauce for the shrimp, which I had to bring that out of the... I like sugar. And bringing Mondel bread to her neighbor upstairs who's got diabetic neuropathy. Nice going, Ma. I was rummaging through his garbage. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
You know, John Henry's an asshole.
Yeah, I know that.
And I will never go to a Marlins game. I don't care if the stadium fee paid for it or if the public pays for it. Of course, I care about that.
Yeah.
Him and Wayne ought to pack their crap and get the hell out of here.
Well, you know, there's an interesting thing in this Jose Lambeat, the South Florida Insider, this gossip column this morning. It says Marlins owner John Henry hightailing out of a Fort Lauderdale Rotary Club meeting Wednesday to fly to Alaska. His 165-foot yacht is moored in Juneau, Alaska. Okay, here's a guy that's a multi-billionaire that's got a 165-foot yacht in Juneau, Alaska, and he's expecting the public to help him build a stadium because he don't want to lose any money with a baseball team that nobody forced him to buy. And then here on the same newspaper today, on the front page of the local section, is that picture of him sucking a persimmon. Henry will pitch for new stadium in Broward County, planning to be more aggressive, and of course wants the taxpayers to help him build it.
You know something? Baseball is a dying sport.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody cares.
Uh-huh.
The turnout is terrible. All these guys are a bunch of asshole, overpaid jocks batting .210.
Right.
It's
They're
ridiculous.
a bunch of because they did all this expansion, what you have is a bunch of minor leaguers in major league uniforms. They're still minor leaguers.
It's all watered down.
That's why you got all these guys hitting 50 and 60 and 70 home runs now.
Instead of Pro Player Stadium, they should call it Pro Prospect Stadium.
There you go.
You know, it's ridiculous. And Wayne, here's a guy who got a stadium built, and the Panthers are going to suck. Because
he's an asshole.
He's got hatchet men in there. He don't give a crap. He just cares about the bottom line. We know that.
And he knows, unfortunately, there are enough suckers that keep filling that place up. Don't ask me. I can't figure it out.
And you know something? Brian Murray, well, they all should go on a boat and go find Kennedy in the middle of the lake, you know? It's ridiculous already.
Okay. I'll see you. 56705, I'm sorry, 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. See, once you start doing that, it's hard to stop. That's why we had to get Dino to retire, because the spokesman, he couldn't say Shisharelli anymore. He got tired of saying that. It's very embarrassing. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes.
From 9 o'clock until 10 o'clock when they went off the air this morning, the entire
Is there
conversation...
any reason why you're whispering, or?
Well, I'm at work.
Oh.
Okay. Was, does the millennium start end in 2000 or 2000?
Who are you talking about? Who's the they?
Rick Riley. And he insisted that it was 2000, and everybody else around him kept telling him 2001.
Yeah.
They spent an entire hour on this.
Was that only about 7-8 weeks ago we did that on this show?
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Rick Riley is a douchebag.
Okay, thanks for the good news.
All right.
But a genius, a great mathematician. You know, it's interesting because he likes to fancy himself a computer expert. And I've told you this before, but when we were over at Paxson, we had all that fancy equipment and nobody knew how to make it work, and the computers kept breaking down, crashing all the time. And he had more trouble with them than anybody. Remember that? Couldn't get anything straightened out, but he's supposed to be the expert. Of course, I know that if I want to buy some stocks, I'll call up Rick. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's North Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, long-time listener.
All right.
All right. Hey, I'm buying my time in Dade County right now. Ready to move on out.
Yeah.
But anyway, did you see Merritt Sturheim on TV last night?
No, I did not. I wouldn't watch Merritt Sturheim.
Oh, my
I know
gosh.
him like a book. I don't need to see him again.
Unbelievable. Pitching for this penny sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
But
I hope it loses like 4-1. I hope it loses so overwhelmingly that it's such a massive rejection and repudiation by the people of this county who've been led down the garden path so many times before that Merritt Sturheim packs his bags and goes back out to L.A. or wherever he went to the first time and don't ever show his ugly puss here again.
I just hope it shows the county government it's such an overwhelming thing that people just vote for it, against it, and it puts them embarrassment in them.
And God bless you, so vote early and often before you leave. Those absentee ballots, there's always come in handy.
Oh!
Yeah. Even from the dead people, especially in Miami. Let's get to all those people that voted for Mayor Suarez, former Mayor Suarez. 5670560, pound 560 on it. I mean, how much energy does it take to say,
no?
You know, I mean, yes, that requires a little bit more, like, listen.
Yes!
See, that requires some energy, but.
No.
Hey, that's simple. So like Nancy Reagan said, just say
no
to the crooks in Dade County and the mayor that belongs behind bars for trying to defraud the public for the umpteenth time. Here's North Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Neil.
Yes, I am.
Long-time listener.
All right.
I don't understand. How can you be talking about cigars today when the Kennedy clan's being buried?
Who can be?
You. Do you smoke cigars?
Meaning what? What does that mean?
Well, I don't know. You know, a nice guy, a Kennedy family, the
nice
Catholic family.
How many days? I just got through reading an article about it, sir. I just got through reading an article. Yeah, I heard it. What would you like to talk about?
I'd like to talk about why you're not talking about the national...
Uh-huh. He'd like to talk about why I'm not talking about the Hebrew queers, whatever it was that he said. What did he say? 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's a lady in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Neil?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you today?
Great.
That's good. I got a couple things. First of all, my husband and I, we both are saddened by the fact that John Kennedy died, but we're not overwhelmed. We've watched very little of the coverage, and it's like, bury him and let's move on. That's the first. Second thing.
They've already been cremated, all three of them. They put their ashes out to sea. Now, why can't we move on with life and like this last asshole, this last bigoted Neanderthal asshole? Why? I just got through reading this 4-page article.
I know, I heard it.
Rick Stengel, which is a great article, and summed it up more eloquently than I ever could. And why can't we now move on and stop trying to live some vicarious life through somebody famous and glitzy?
It's because, like you said, he's always going to be that 3-year-old little boy saluting to his father's coffin to people. I mean, I was 3 years old when Kennedy died, and I have memories of my mom's dark house 4 days in a row, but he's always going to be that little 3-year-old. And let's face it, how many pictures have you seen of him as that 3-year-old or under the desk? It's just the way people want to remember him, and that's it. But now I need to
It's not the way I remember him.
Well, no,
at all.
it isn't you. Probably not. And there's really, I mean, he hadn't had a chance. If he was going to make his mark as a Kennedy, he hadn't done it yet. So the only thing you have to remember him by is when he was little. And that's just...
Well, why is that?
I don't know.
We saw his picture 8 million times, whether we wanted to see or not, on the front of every goddamn magazine. We saw 8 billion words about George magazine, which was a money losing proposition with a very weak circulation of 400,000 readers. I just don't get that.
We don't either. We
I mean,
really
talk about living in the
because
past.
You know why?
And in addition to which, most people in this society, most of the people in this audience, don't remember him saluting the casket, don't remember him sitting under the goddamn desk in the Oval Office, because they weren't born then.
See, but you know what? If you weren't born, and like I say, I was 3 when Kennedy was assassinated. That's your first memory. Whether it happens when you're 7 or 8, that's the first thing you remember when you start hearing about, president assassinated, is you see those pictures of John underneath the desk saluting the casket. He's a Kennedy. And with the name Kennedy goes certain rights and privileges as society sees
So in other words, when David Kennedy died of a drug overdose, there was a big deal about. See, we're rehashing the same stuff again. That's not true. It isn't
right.
true.
No, you're absolutely right. I guess
when Michael Kennedy had the skiing accident and died, the guy that was diddling the babysitter, there was no big song and dance about that. It didn't last 2 minutes, the coverage about that. He was as much of a Kennedy as anybody else.
It wasn't romanticized, and John Kennedy Jr. will always be a romanticized figure in most people's minds because he was related to who? John. What was John? The President of the United States of America.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand it either, but I need to change the subject for one quick second and ask you, have you ever considered all right, have you ever considered going to stay on the Adriatic coast in Italy?
No, it's too close to Yugoslavia.
Really? Because there's some beautiful little towns all along that, right along the Adriatic.
No.
Oh, well. All right.
Have a great day,
Thank
sweetheart.
You. Bye-bye.
Okay. And stay out from under that desk. 567-0560. You're doing your thing, man. I mean, you think whatever you think, and that's fine. I just, all I can say is 20 before noon at 560 WQAM. I'll tell you, that guy that called before about fish food, now, I mean, what is there to really say? It's the best ice cream that's ever been invented.
Hi, this is G. Gordon Liddy, and they don't come any worse than Neil Rogers.
I've got to let you know. I can't wait, I gotta go. I play some no-goes up the road. 'Cause I can feel my backseat float. Yeah, I hate to tell you so. I can't wait, I gotta go. I'm down now on my hands and knees. Legs together, tightly squeezed. You best all over in this bag, or I will use that Pepsi can. So in my bladder will explode. I can't wait, I'm gonna go.
Squirt, squirt. 14 till noon at 560. You mean it's not even 12 o'clock yet?
No.
Holy crap! But I'm enjoying this Perdomo Squared even though it's not lit up. I'm just, I shouldn't be keeping it in my mouth. Isn't that right? Isn't that what they said before? Don't keep chewing on it. And a cigar either. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Okay.
Yeah, my girlfriend walked in, and she's sad because they're putting John John's ashes in the sea. There's not going to be a grave site where people can go and visit.
Thank God. Maybe she can just throw some flowers in the Atlantic. In fact, maybe all the transatlantic flights, what they can do for the next several months is just kind of as you're taking off, just crack the window a little bit, or maybe just open the door just a little crack and let everybody go up to the front and drop some flowers out before you get sucked out of the plane.
I agree. Hey, a couple things. With this penny sales tax, have they done any surveys?
This is that guy that sounds like Rich Packer. What is it? To see what?
To see whether it's likely to pass.
I have no idea whether if there are any polls. They're probably sitting on them.
Okay. And one other thing, I tried to call you about this a few days ago. I was at a payphone. The payphone crapped out. I got a buddy. He's 33 years old, and he just married a 16-year-old girl last year. She just turned 16, and he loves her very much. I'm not making light of any of that.
Of course.
But it seems with these statutory rape laws that as long as you have the blessing of the Lord through marriage, you can be banging 13-year-olds. I guess I don't know.
Really?
What I mean, how does that work?
Too bad Roman Polanski didn't know that. I have no idea. I don't know how that works, but maybe somebody does.
Well, it's just interesting, man. I just want to run that by you. All right, Neil, have a good day.
Thanks for the good news.
Bye.
567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's Miami. Hello.
Neil, guy.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Not a thing, man. It's dead as a doornail.
Of course,
you can smell
summertime.
it. You can smell it.
Oh, yeah. How about this stadium? They're never going to build no baseball stadium.
I sure hope not.
Of
course not. It's a joke. They'll never build a baseball stadium in Miami.
Why do you in Miami? What about in Broward?
Never.
How do you know that?
Because 2 years from now, there'll be no more baseball in South Florida.
No, I don't think
Absolutely
so. I think
horrible.
you're wrong.
6,000 people at the game, Neil.
Yeah.
There's no people at the game.
Well, when you have no payroll, what difference does it make?
Well, John Henry's
Then
broke.
they'll unload
John Henry's broke.
They'll unload Alex. Yeah, he's broke. That's why he went up to Alaska to his 165-foot yacht. Maybe he's going to sell it.
He's broke. Bye-bye.
Okay. Yeah, he's broke. Break this. Jackass. 5670560. See, people ask me what I do for a living. I tell them I do a talk show on the radio. And they say, well, what kind of talk show is that? I say, I talk to assholes for 4 hours every day. No, I tell people that, actually what I say is I talk to crazy people for 4 hours every day. I don't say asshole because when you first meet somebody, stranger on a plane, you don't want to say asshole because they might take it personally, No, I always tell them that. I talk to crazy people 4 hours every day. Is that what I get paid for?
Oh!
Yes. So thanks for not letting me down, by the way, especially this last guy. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line as we continue to search for the ultimate truths of the universe, and I'll guarantee you'll find them right on talk radio. Make no mistake about that. Are we finding them today?
Uh-huh.
You bet. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello.
Neil Gunn.
Yes, sir.
This new voice of the Panthers, Jigs.
Oh, I finally got a call on this. 2 hours later when I get a call on Jigs McDonald, which most people here don't know him from Old McDonald.
Well-
and he is old.
Well, I only read in the paper this morning about him. I have never heard him. Is it fair to compare him to, let's say, Rimmer?
Oh, Rimmer's better than Jigs McDonald.
He is.
Yeah.
And could this McDonald person do television, or is he strictly radio?
No, he has done television. He did mostly TV in the past.
Oh, but here he's going to be strictly radio.
Right.
Okay.
He's weak.
He's weak.
He's
Well-
old. He's old and he's boring. He's got that. He's better than Chris Moore, which is okay, but he certainly doesn't make the game exciting. He's not going to create any new hockey fans. He's old and worn out. He's a burnout.
In other words, the Panthers could have done better.
Yes.
Very good.
I listened to some of the tapes that they had, a couple of the tapes, and if they weren't going to give it to Geldy, there were some other guys that had more experience than Geldy, and we had some tapes from great people, some really good announcers. So instead of bringing in somebody new, they bring back an old tired guy because he's got this incestuous relationship from Bill Torrey from 100 years ago in New York with the Islanders, and so that's why they're bringing him in here. It's very, very sad.
And he lives up the coast, too. He's got a place up at Hutchinson Island.
Right.
Yeah. Well, all remains to be seen.
Well, at least he won't have far to go when we send him home.
You guys.
Have a
Thank
great
you, sir.
day, pal. Okay. And like I said, it's not personal. He's a good guy, but he just sucks. 5670560, pound 560 on the ATC. Mediocrity. We love mediocrity here. That's what this town is generally based on. That's what Wayne is all about. Those same boring guys. They all look like Dean Jordan. They all smell like Dean Jordan. They all have those same boring, I don't even know what the color of that suit. He had one suit that he always used to wear before he ran off to wherever he went to Charlotte or somewhere. Kind of like a brindle brown. They all have that same kind of dull, like that. And that's the Hypinga organization. And, of course, John Henry, he ain't no different. He's just a wannabe. Just another guy who wanted to play toy because he's got a lot of money. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Neil?
Yes, sir.
God.
Speaking.
If you are
God.
if you are God, you will not allow that little Leo DiCaprio to be on the next Godfather.
Sir, the
right?
next guy, I hate to break the news to you, but Mario Puzo died. There isn't going to be any next Godfather. Have a nice day. Do these people read a newspaper?
No.
Do they listen to a newscast?
No.
Other than when they're dropping ashes from cremated bodies in the ocean, other than that, do they ever?
No.
No. Get with it. Get with it. Wake up and sniff the daffodils, okay? Mario Puzo is dead.
Boy.
And let me say it again. That was just a couple of weeks ago. A man who had a much greater impact on most of our lives. Am I right about that? Godfather, parts 1, 2, and 3, one of the classic epics of motion picture, and also, of course, the book was even better than the movie, which he wrote. Did anybody make a big simus about that?
No.
Just barely got any mention. Mario Puzo. I mean, he wasn't a good-looking young guy. He wasn't on a picture of a cover of Glamour magazines. And, of course, Puzo, he was one of those grease balls, you know, which I thought we liked grease balls. I do. I like the Italians. What's wrong with that? Love the Italians. Just like that senator from Nevada said, the Italians are great people, and I got to go now because my hooker's waiting in the motel. You know that senator? Won't see him no more. See that? What's the point? See, I feel like I got sucked into this again. The same thing I've been doing the other 3 days, and I keep rehashing like I'm trying to convince people. I'm not going to convince them. I know what the story is. I know which side it's buttered on. But the overwhelming majority of people out there, it's the America of the 90s. That's all they know, is whatever television teaches them is important. That's important. And that woman before that was hawking and China. I don't know what she was talking about. She was 3 years old then, but she remembers those pictures of John saluting and under the desk. How can you be 3 years old and you remember that? I don't remember anything from when I was 3 years old. Do you? The earliest memories I have was when I fell down and hit my head when I was 5 years old, and I still have the scar on my forehead in Rochester on Oak Terrace in the first house we lived in. I fell down on the rocks. We had like a real rocky thing outside our side door, and I fell down and hit my head, and here's the scar. That's it. That's the earliest memory I've got.
I remember chasing ducks with a squirt gun.
And then I remember carrying that cat up the street on Oak Terrace, the one that in my arms, and I've hated cats ever since. Yeah, it did a number right in my arms. And I've had an aversion to pussies ever since. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How
yes,
you doing?
Sir. Great.
I don't blame John Henry or Heisinger or any of these guys. I blame the politicians and the public. If they would just stand up and say, look, we're not using any money, that's it. Because Henry, he's just getting a free lunch. How can you turn down a free meal?
Yeah, this is the same guy who said that if the public wouldn't build it, he would build it. So let's tell him, put up or shut up, okay? You want to keep your crappy team here, fine. You said you'd build a thing. You go ahead, you work it out, and then you put up the money and leave us alone.
Well, that's a great idea, but remember what happened in Arizona? The public voted against building the stadium, and the commissioners went ahead and did it anyway. Some guy went into the office and shot the bitch right in the head. That's true.
Yeah.
And, and that's what the public will means nothing because these politicians are sucking up to the rich guys. And unless it means that they're not going to get reelected, that's the only thing they know.
I know that if I were wealthy enough to have a 165-foot yacht moored in Juneau, Alaska, that I'd be running around asking the taxpayers to help me build a stadium for my play toy.
Well, if they do it, would you take the money?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
F&A.
Okay.
Have a great day, pal.
Bye-bye.
That's what they need to learn to start doing. Next Thursday's a good day to practice. Just say
no.
Just to practice. It makes it so easy.
No.
A lot of you women out there, sure, you got a lot of practice.
No.
Yeah. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. 4 minutes till noon here in Death Valley days, and it is, man. It is so deadly. You can smell it. You can feel it.
Psychedelic wheels have been returning. Taking it way back, my friend. Travel back to the swing of 60. Gotta get his mojo back again. Now watch him swing. Now we heard Dr. Evil plans destruction. Now we heard he put his libido down. Now I hope all you will remember that's how this man gets all those chicks anyhow. He's on his powers. Weird as hell, that is true. He's on his powers. Gonna get himself a shag or two. Now how about you?
Nice people. 1201 at 560 WQM. We got 1,600 open lines on it, but that's okay. We're rolling along. We're already halfway up the hill, and now it's all downhill from here. 5670560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. Jim Mandel for the vacationing Hank Goldberg at 2. I'll tell you one thing. Hank's no dummy. He sure knows when the hell to get out of here as often as possible. Here's a mobile in North Miami. Hello.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yes, sir.
screw the Kennedys. You know, I mean, it's funny because if I had listened to you, I think all this stuff going on is normal. How they're carrying on and carrying on and carrying on.
Sure, it is so sick and so disgusting, and it's still going on right now. They won't let it go. They're putting the ashes in the ocean, and they still won't let go of it. How much more is there to say? They're dead. It's tragic. It was an accident. They're dead. Good people die every day. Let them rest in peace.
It's funny, I got a neighbor who, this chick was obsessed with Leo DiCaprio and obsessed with everything that, anything that's going on in the media, and then she's all next door crying, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe it's so sad.
Well, the kind of people, the kind of simpletons who are obsessed with Leo DiCaprio, those are the people right now who are crying and carrying on like this is something important, because those are morons.
Exactly. Another thing, all these people that are crying for this new stadium, I mean, did any of these people have kids? Do these people realize how overcrowded the schools are and how overcrowded the jails are?
They don't care about that.
It's nothing but
you better
stadium.
You better get your priorities straight, mister. We don't care about that.
It's amazing.
That's right.
Did you ever find all the sticks are brown?
Ever find what?
All the sticks are brown?
No.
Could you play Father O'Toole?
Okay.
Pool?
Will do.
Thanks.
See ya. Say hi to Father O'Toole at the bottom of the pool. Oh, that was bad. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Mobile One line. Here's Boca. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I just heard you guys talk about Jigs McDonald. I had a question about that.
Yes, sir.
Is he still, is Denny Potvin still going to be doing announcing?
Yeah, on TV. Potvins with Rimmer on TV.
Oh, so Jigs is doing the radio.
Jigs is doing the radio, and I assume that Randy Moeller will still be doing the color, and Geldy will be doing whatever it is he does on the broadcast.
Okay, because I just caught part of it on the
Well,
radio.
what do you think of Jigs McDonald? Do you like him?
Grew up on Long Island watching him, so I know what he's like. I know he could be a real bore sometimes, but I was just wondering if he was going to be working with Potvin. Maybe there'd be some chemistry there, but I guess if he's on the radio and
I got
Denny's
news
on
for you,
TV,
sir. They could bring in 50 gallons of sulfuric acid and stick it in Denise Potvin,
Rectum.
and there still wouldn't be any chemistry, okay? He is terminal. If you look up the word dullard, if you looked up dumb frog in the dictionary, you'll see his picture next to it. And have a great day.
All right, Neil.
567-0560. I shouldn't have said that, because Denise, he's very sensitive.
I feel really, really sorry.
I'm sorry. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Mobile One line. We're waiting on you, baby. We're waiting on the 50 million calls that are going to come in here. And you know what the problem is this week? I guess I really, I lost my senses this week. I should have come on here and done the popular thing. See, when I come on and I say what it is I think, I don't care whether it's popular, unpopular, mainstream, whatever. All I do is say what I think. But I guess I should have probably sucked up to everybody and just gone right into this thing. Oh, my God, the Kennedys and Camelot, and what a tragedy this is, and how are we going to survive? And this young man certainly would have been a senator and probably the next president. And yeah, I should have just come on and bullcrapped everybody. Because that's where all the money is. That's where the popularity is going in there with the mainstream and just sucking onto everybody's butt and finding out what... You know what it reminds me of? I was thinking about this morning driving to work. I don't know what made me think about it. About people who think that they're hip or cool. Oh, I know what it was. I saw a thing on TV, and the first time I ever actually saw it in print, SUP, which is not short for supper, okay, for all you old farts out there. It used to be, what's up? And then it became TSUP, sup, and now it's just SUP. So if you really want to be hip and cool, you have to keep up with the latest lingo from all these degenerates out there on the street, all these illiterates. And it's the same thing with shaking hands. See, I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people. I learned a long time ago that when you shake your hand, you stick your hand out, somebody else puts their hand, you squeeze it a little bit, not too much, no finger on the palm, and that's it. That's how you shake somebody's hand. Not anymore, and if you watch sports, this is the best one, okay? Because every 5 minutes, even within a baseball game, between the first inning and the ninth inning, they have developed some new way to high five, low five. They got the fist on the fist and the hand on your wrist and the hand on your
rectum.
I mean, I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah, the elbow on the elbow on your
rectum.
I can't keep up. I have no desire to keep up. I'm not interested in the drug brothers' grip. I know. I watch young people shake hands, and I ask myself, how is it that they know when they're finished? Do you know what I'm saying? How do they know when they've done the last thing with the fingers like this? And how are they sure? Because it all depends on the person that you're shaking the hands with. How hip and how cool they are, and what happens if they're hipper and cooler than you are, then you look like a jackass. And you know something? The people who want to be hip and cool, they're very sad. because they're desperate to show to everybody how hip and cool they are. And just like these Perdomo squared, that's how square they are. Makes me nauseous. Yeah, we got the, that's a good one. That's one of my favorites with the elbows. That's great. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Mobile One line. Here's Miami. Hello. Miami. Going once. 13 minutes, 51 seconds later, long gone. Let's try Sunrise. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
I've been listening on and off this morning because I've been in and out of the house, but did anybody talk to you about the Channel 10 special tonight? Well, it's a series now called Vanished.
No.
Tonight is Madeline Murray O'Hare.
Yeah.
They're going to talk about her disappearance. And
Really?
Yeah.
What time's that on?
10 o'clock.
All right.
Okay, and did you see there was an article in the paper the other day about some guy where they turned up a bag of like all these gold coins that had belonged to her?
Yeah.
They caught some thief or petty crook or whatever was arrested, and they found these things in his possession and traced them back to her and her son.
Right. Oh yeah, they arrested this guy. They think he put all of them in a gigantic oil drum or something.
Right.
They sleep with the fishes.
But I wanted to let you
And
know.
by the way, are we having any mourning about that?
Exactly.
Madeline O'Hare, one of the gutsiest bitches in the history of the human race. No mourning about that.
Yeah, like it goes on and on. And I agree with you about the handshakes. It's totally ludicrous.
It's ridiculous, man. Let them all shake it.
But I wanted you to know about that show today.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Take care.
God bless you. Oh, I'm sorry, Madeline wouldn't like that. 567-0560, God damn it, and pound 560 on the Mobile One line. Yeah, how cool can you be, man? How cool can... Hey, stop! And those of you young people that get sucked into that, you know what I say to myself every time I listen to that and I hear it? Not that I'm some old fuddy-duddy like George Stinks, the old man, which is his favorite way to refer to me.
With great love, by the way.
No, that's not the point. The point is that all of this other stuff is so superficial and so meaningless, and you know what? It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. But you see, we have to separate the generations. We have to have, if we don't have a real generation gap, we have to invent new ones. Because it's real good marketing, you know. It's real good that way. That if you wear a certain kind of clothing, if you wear your pants down to your knees, which I don't mind that, by the way. Yeah. That's one of the new styles that's not too bad. Don't like those baggy pants. But if you got them down around your knees, hey, you know what they call that? Like for the handicapped, easy access.
He's still the world's biggest asshole.
All right.
Tom Denenberg. Thank you.
Oh!
In my estimation, these girls will win it all. A World Cup celebration, 'cause they're great with the soccer ball. The U.S. a sensation, got the best in my arm. They'll defeat any nation, from Australia to Iran. These girls come from everywhere, from Oregon up to Maine. They're playing before massive crowds, and they'll make us go insane. And now they're scoring again. U.S. is the best. We're loving the ladies soccer. The others will go down. We're loving the ladies soccer. You girls will not be beat, unlike New York Knickerbockers. Now there is no doubt. Loving the ladies soccer. Yeah, loving the ladies soccer. We're loving the ladies soccer.
Oh, yeah. Those aren't ladies. Those are, I'm sorry. 12:15 at 560 WQAM, 567-0560, pound 560 on the Mobile One line. We're kicking some serious today, mostly our own, but that's okay. I'm used to it. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Fine, y'all. I waited because I almost took a dump in my pants when I heard Jigs McDonald is coming here. I grew up on Long Island. I grew up in Pennsylvania, actually, the Poconos, watching the Islanders on Channel 9. He is the most boring, the blandest.
Criminal, right, bland. Sir, that's exactly the word bland. He's like vanilla pudding.
He actually did work for Sports Channel when they did the playoffs. I really, he's the worst I've ever heard. It's a tie between him and Moore.
Yeah.
He's dreadful.
Right.
I can't believe it. I'm in shock.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the adjectives used to describe the new radio play-by-play voice of the Panthers. Dreadful and whatever.
He should just retire. He's awful.
Yeah.
Disgust. I can't believe it.
Isn't that pathetic? And again, it goes to show you it's not your talent, it's who you know and who you suck up to, because him and Bill Torrey obviously have this incestuous relationship. It's a disgrace that they brought this man here to do this job.
And one more thing. Do you know anyone who lives in a compound? What is this compound crap? The Kennedy compound. I
thought that was for warts. Have a great day, pal.
Thank you.
Isn't that for warts, Compound W? 5670560, pound 560 on the Mobile One line. Enough with the frickin' Kennedys, okay? Go get a Kennedy sandwich or something. Do anything with it. Just leave me alone with the frickin' Kennedys. And I can only imagine, because there are millions of people who despise the Kennedys almost to a point of irrationality. But that's just the way it is. And maybe in some cases justifiably, obviously, like the old man. I can only imagine how those people must feel now. Because as somebody who admired the Kennedys for the most part, although I think more objectively than most Americans, but, I'm just grossed out. I'm nauseated. To say that I'm saturated would be an understatement. So the people that despise the Kennedys, those people, the reason we're not hearing from them is they have, checked out. They've just, like John, they're under the desk, and they're not coming out until the coast is clear. They've got the canvas thing over their heads, and they're like an ostrich. They got their head buried in the sand. Please, let me know when this is over. Tap me on the shoulder, and I'll come back and get some relief from this. Craziness. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a long-time listener, and I'm one of your crazy listeners, but I want to ask you that I want to tell two people they're douchebags.
Okay, great. Okay, 5670560, pound 560 on a Mobile One line. What'd she say?
Yeah.
Here's Mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Bill.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Great.
Great fan of yours.
All right.
I'm on vacation. I'm going on the way to Lion Country Safari, and I was hearing you. I want to put my opinion on the Kennedy. Neil, I'm a Julio from Miami, and I would think that if that would happen to me, and I got lost in the sea with a plane that crashed, they wouldn't even acknowledge me that I fell down on the sea.
No, what they probably would do is that the Coast Guard would go out and yell to some of the Cuban rafters, hey, by the way, while you're out there, would you look around and see if you can find that guy? I think he's floating around out there somewhere.
Even you, if you would have been in that plane and you would have fallen, and trust me, Rick Sanchez would have been in Channel 7, he'll probably even say, don't even go get you. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Another thing.
Hey, by the way, you know that guy that Rick hit in front of the stadium?
Oh, you know what I heard this morning? I heard that the government wanted to bring an aircraft carrier, the John F. Kennedy carrier. They wanted to bring it in, and Ted, he said no, that he don't want to bring it in. I mean, imagine if they would have brought the carrier.
Yeah.
All that money that we had to spend just to bring it, just to flush the toilet,
Exactly.
So it's unbelievable.
God bless you, sir.
And I want to hear you talk more about Luis Miguel, Ricky Martin,
Enrique Iglesias.
Enrique Iglesias.
Now you're talking.
I want to hear all those songs, okay?
Okay. You got it. Have a great day. He wants to hear all of those things, is what he said. What's wrong with that? Enrique? They must have a different, I know they have different musical versions because I got them on the CD, but they must have a different video and updated Bailamos. The one where he keeps pulling his shirt up and he keeps doing things. Nice going, Enrique. Okay in my book, even if your English is pretty weak. 5670560, pound 560 on the Mobile One line. And then that Bill from Fort Myers there with that comment about, what do you say about all those gross-looking greaseball spicks, whatever he was talking about? You must be hanging out in the wrong parts of town, Bill. Not too many of the good-looking Julios come over there to the trailer park, I guess. Here's a Mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Dale.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about the Panthers organization.
The organization.
They hire all the same types of looking guys.
Bland.
You know what that word is?
Old.
Goyim.
Goyim. Yeah, that's why. I'll tell you, when they found out that Rimmer and Geldy were Jewish, of course, you'd think with a name like Goldstein they would know in Geldy's case, but when they found that out, they said, oops, but too late now.
They're going to have two Jews doing Panther games? Forget it. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
That's the only problem with
Good. That's a good point. I never thought about that.
Goyim. They all look alike.
The most Goyish they all have that Dean Jordan professional Goy look. You're absolutely correct.
Just keep saying that word.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just keep saying good.
Boy!
567-0560, pound 5. Come on, you can do it. Good.
Boy!
And pound 560 on the mobile one line. How about the women? We heard from any women today?
No.
Just that crazy lady who wants to call her
back
friend.
3 times, by the way.
For what? We don't do douchebags for people that have no material, okay? You want to give me a call and have just a little bit of material, fine, but don't try to use my show as a conduit to try to make a tsimus with some jackass friend of yours. Call them up on the phone and say, hey, you're a jackass, you're a douchebag, you're an asshole, whatever. Or better yet, go knock on their door and see how far they knock your false teeth flying. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello. Well, I'm telling you, I'm just having a bitch of a day. Mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Okay, oh yeah, well now that I hear that strange sound. Thank you very much for waiting, by the way. We got a real patient crowd today. Oh, the cigar, I keep chewing on it. You know something? I am going to wind up with a bad thing because I'm chewing on this all day. It's kind of a protest, since nobody else out there cares about this, that the FTC wants to clamp down on cigars and put all kind of warnings and make illegal radio and TV advertising of cigars. I mean, as much as we love Nix and they love us, if they should do that, so Nix will survive and we'll survive. We got a waiting list of people that want to advertise. It's not from a selfish standpoint like that. It's just that when do you finally get tired of your government regulating your life? Every single damn thing we do. And then the things where they ought to be doing more regulation, like the goddamn diet of the American public, they're like in la-la land. Oh, yeah, well, we're too busy for that. Of course, we got the president who eats at McDonald's all the time, his Big Macs, but he does love his cigars.
Rectum.
Here's a mobile in Marco Island. Hello.
Hi, Neil. How you doing?
Pretty good, sir.
Good. About these secret handshakes, when I was in the military...
Are they secret? I thought only the Masons did that.
I don't know, but when I was in the military in the 70s, when a couple of the brothers would get together, I thought they were dancing because they were going through this ritual of hitting their chest and hitting their hands together and pointing, and they called it chopping, I think, or something bizarre like that. But I thought it was some kind of a secret ritual. I don't know.
They're chomping on it?
They were chopping on it. Yes, sir, they were. Another thing...
Maybe that's what Limp Biscuit means when they keep saying chomp all the time. Yeah, chomp on this.
Chomp, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Corey Saban update. I meant to call you a couple of weeks ago, but apparently he's working for Fox 4 and he's doing the roving reporter thing, and he had a story on an adult gay nudist camp near Fort Myers, and he looked shell-shocked trying to talk to this old man. Trying to talk to this old man that came to the trailer naked.
What did he just say? Something. No, don't say it again. I'm not really sure what it was. Shell-shocked is what he said, yeah.
And one thing about beautiful Marco Island, about your government influencing people, on Marco Island, if you have ground owls on your vacant lot, the environmentalists come down and they put little stakes in the ground and orange barricade tape all around it and tell you that they will persecute you to death if you decide to build a house in this lot because these ground owls are protected.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, tell me, Hootie and the Blowfish, that'll make it okay. Okay, fine. I know we got a little problem there. It's that phone. 567-0560. Maybe the phone is screwed up again, Dave. We just haven't figured it out yet. That certainly could be, couldn't it? Happened many times before in this cheap-ass joint. Hey, by the way, Pizza Loft's bringing food tomorrow. They don't know it yet because Junior wants food from Pizza Loft tomorrow. What?
Junior?
Your best close personal friend here yesterday.
How could I forget?
Hey, don't be messing with him. He's taking enough grief. You know, I'm going to tell you, the scene that I saw here yesterday with this Chris Reed business, the nephew, I mean, I'm not going to say he's not a bad guy because at this point of the game, I wonder about these people. All these little children that run around here, and when the boss is out of town, which he had to come flying back for a tragedy for somebody's funeral, but nevertheless, and then they're running around here bossing around all the little people, including the interns who don't even get paid. I can't stand that. I can't stomach it. We got pipsqueaks around here who in their own mind, because through a relation or because they're part of the inner circle or because they have dinner at Greg's house, right away they're trying to impress us all with the tremendous power and authority they've got. They're still pipsqueaks. That was pathetic. Pathetic.
I didn't hear the story. I can't eavesdrop in there.
Evidently, when Junior was screening the calls on Hank's show one day a few days ago, he had somebody call in who became very abusive because you know how they screen. He wanted to talk about the cycling, the big whatever the hell they call that. And
callers getting abusive? I don't believe
So,
it.
yeah, right. And so anyway, to make a long story short, he tried to say, well, we don't want to talk about that. Hank knows nothing about that, doesn't want to talk about it. And the guy became very abusive and more abusive and then started using the F word and F you and your mama and everything. And so finally he gave it back to him and finally cut him off after taking too much abuse. Chris Reed comes into him a little bit later. Who was the one that screened the call, took that call? Because obviously he had gotten the call. Well, that's a good friend of mine who happens to be a sponsor on his station, and you can't, those people that's our customers. You can't treat them like that. So in other words, Chris Reed's notion of screening calls on the show is that you guys, the people who are screening the calls, should take a lot of crap from the callers. I'll tell you what, all the people who want to abuse, we'll put them right through to your line, Chris, okay? We'll get a direct line, and you sit in there and say, oh, yes, sir, whatever you say, yes, sir. Yeah, let's get his direct line, and we'll put them all through to him, all the people that want to be abusive. Picking on the interns. Isn't that pathetic? Just like our program director. Don't have the balls to look anybody in the face and say anything. Although, of course, if he does have an altercation, he'll suspend somebody for 2 days. Because see, Terry Murray would like this place. It's like Ding Dong School. In my life, I've never worked in a radio station where so many people were being suspended. Like a silly place, like a kiddie place. Oh, gee, you picked your nose and ate it. We're going to suspend you for 2 days. Yeah, but how was it?
Beware of exploding balls.
In theaters now, from the director of Star Trek and the producer of The Spy Who Shagged Me. It's The Spy Who Shagged Spock.
Do I make you horny? Sir, would you mind explaining that statement, please?
Do I make you horny, baby? Yeah, do I?
Fascinating, but quite impossible.
Oh, groovy, baby.
And as for my anatomy being different from yours, I am delighted.
Well, they're astronomical, believe me.
Very long, and judging from what we've seen so far, I agree.
Oh, behave.
The Spy Who Shagged Spock.
Shall we shag now, or shall we shag later?
I wonder what Starfleet Command will say about that. Live long and prosperous.
Yeah, baby.
12:32 at 560 WQAM. Jim Mandel for Hank at 2, and we got Donnie Baseball talking crap at 6. The pregame at 6:30. The Marlins and the Braves again, 7:05 from PP Park tonight. And of course, John Henry won't be there. He's busy in Alaska on his 55,000-foot yacht. 567-0560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. Go into the break. Every line on the board is lit. We come back, and now there are 2. Man, there must be some heavy-duty stuff going on, some orgy, some wild crap going on, and we're just not in on it. All summer long. Here's Kendall. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I just wanted to know, does anybody care about the Bassett family? Everybody just cares about the goddamn Kennedys. Nobody's saying anything else about the other families involved in this.
Because they don't have that kind of money or power, man.
Yeah, I mean, all you hear on the news is fat ass Rick Sanchez talking about the Kennedys and the Kennedys this and the Kennedys that, and nobody cares about the Bassett family.
Well, doesn't that prove my point right there?
Just because they don't own a huge compound on some boring island out in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, I want to congratulate you, Neil, and thank you for speaking the truth.
And have a great life.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, Rick Sanchez can relate to it because Mary Jo Kopechne, she had a little car problem there, too, just like the guy that Rick hit out in front of the stadium. So he can relate to that whole situation, I guess. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. No, I took the wrong tack, though. I came in and I actually said what I thought all week long, and that was a bad mistake. You have to suck up to the masses out there and put on a big phony act and come in and weep and carry on. Oh, it's an American tragedy, and this is, I'm feeling so nauseated is what I'm feeling. Grossed out. I'm appalled. Takes a lot to appall me. I've seen it all, but I'm appalled. Just when I thought I knew how sick the media was, they shocked the living crap out of me and show me that I'm not even close yet to understanding. Fort Lauderdale, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
I looked it up in the dictionary. If you have a shed in your backyard, it qualifies as a compound.
Uh-huh.
And what about the guy? I can't. The guy
How you
from
spelling
Hee-Haw.
that?
What's that?
Go ahead.
The guy from Hee-Haw. What's his? Buck Henry wanting a new stadium for a dead sport. Is that incredible?
I like that, Buck Henry. I love that.
Henry.
If you saw that picture in the Sun Sentinel Day where it looks like he's sucking on a persimmon, Buck Henry would be great under that name.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would pass is if the soccer team here wanted a new stadium. I think that would roll.
That would go over big, especially if we can bring in that women's soccer. I mean, we already got the WNBA is going to come in, and that's going to fail in about 3 months, so why not?
Amazing. All right, Neil, keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. I mean, even when the men's soccer goes over here like a pregnant pole vaulter on a hot day in the middle of hell, they're going to have women's soccer here? Just keep more stadiums and more arenas, more tax money, more phantom teams, more mediocre entertainment. Just keep subsidizing, you know? Just keep doing it, huh?
No.
No, thanks. And then I forget where I was reading, which column it was, but about how important Major League Baseball is to a real community. As if somehow, before we had the Marlins, which was what, like 8 or 9 years ago, or 7, 8 years, whatever it was, somehow we just couldn't survive without that? Why is that so important? I think we could probably squeak through somehow without Major League Baseball here.
Don't you know how much better it is? Don't you remember?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I used to suck. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling about the Kennedys. Neil.
Yeah.
They're talking way too much about them.
Uh-huh.
Well, soon they're gonna be showing those news on Playboy Channel.
Oh, it's already on there. They got that nude picture of John from the front of George Magazine. Haven't you seen that?
Yep.
Only this time he's got his legs wide open now. It's embarrassing. One of the outtakes, I guess. 5670560. Don't forget the Tom Green Show tonight, 10:30 on MTV. Now we're talking something important. Something to put a little smile on your face. Is Tom Green. You know what I got to do? I love the... I gave you the tape. Did you watch it yet?
Not yet.
That's all right. I'll tape the one tonight. Because I love the opening of the show. That's one of my favorite parts. Just the music. The music is just perfect for that show. It's just wacky and wiggy and ridiculous enough. It just, it does things deep inside my...
Rectum.
Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Neil.
Yes, I am.
I'm reading about American tragedy. I pick up the paper this morning. A 5-year-old shoots his 4-year-old brother, and just because some idiot has to have a gun laying around his house.
Mm-hmm.
And
but just remember, guns don't kill people, cigars do.
Yeah, exactly. But, I think if we spend a little bit more time worrying about that than people that have, control over their own lives, like Kennedy did when he went up in that plane,
right?
I think things would be a lot better off.
Okay.
Thanks, Neil.
Hold your breath.
Yeah.
And have a great day. 5670560, pound 560 on the... Thank you. 5670560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. Now, let me ask you this. When they call with those calls, although he probably wanted to talk to Chris Reed, when they call with those calls, do they really think it's going to get on the air when they call with those things?
Uh-huh.
Oh. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. I think the word you're looking for, sir, when you look at yourself in the mirror is dumb. D-U-M-M. Dumb. As in real, pathetically dumb. Illiterate, stupido.
Holy cow, Aaron's coming. Well, congratulations. Get a life.
Do you or your family suffer from things? The makers of Zyfam want you to know about a miracle drug that helps you deal with the symptoms of various things. Zyfam, winner of the Department of Health's prestigious Longest List of Side Effects Award for 2 years running. Zyfam. Talk to your doctor today. Some swelling of the brain, impotence, enlargement of various glands and ducts, hemorrhoids, Y2K hysteria, temptations, and plagues of locusts have been associated with the use of Zyfam. Other possible side effects include blindness, dizziness, loss of weight, loss of color, loss of keys, straightening of the hair, aversion to swing music, zombieism, night sweats, talking like Roger Ebert, itchy organs, exploding head, and the gout. Some patients have reported blurred vision, drooling, talking Australian, saying the phrase good to go, knocked knees, broken bones, lumpy eyebrow makeup, high cholesterol, low esteem, wet hacking coughs, dry heaves, soft doing midsections, clock watching, and raccoonism. A more significant number of Zyfam users have reported occasional bouts of chest pain, random loss of limbs, trouser tinting, greasy forehead, twisting of the truth, spinal straightening, toeing the line, headaches, muscle aches, claude achenism, gas guzzling, incessant staring, and barking. Get your complete list of side effects on our website at www.zyfamsideeffects.org. Zyfam. Keep away from cats, dogs, snakes, children, the young at heart, and goats. Zyfam. Medicine for today's things.
All right. Sounds like our kind of crap. 1243 at 560 WQAM. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir? Oh, boy.
Let me ask you something, my friend.
Uh-huh.
Is that true you're really a fag?
Yeah. Are you writing a book?
What about that spick that you have? You know what? He's a hypocrite.
Uh-huh.
He's a very good hypocrite.
Yeah, a very good
And
hypocrite.
you're a faggot.
Uh-huh. Okay, thanks, Julio. One of your people. 56705.
Doesn't know what the word means either.
60, pound 560. Look, hypocrite. How many years have we been doing this? When somebody wants to, take a cheap shot because they're mostly illiterate anyway, like him. Oh, you're a hypocrite. And you're right. They don't even know what it means, but it sounds good. It's a good shot. Oh, you're a hypocrite. You know what that means? Well, how do you spell it? HYC 567 HIPPOTO 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Thanks for listening to 560 WQM, by the way, Julio. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How
Yes,
you
sir.
doing? He's just a little sour because his application for Mensa was caught up in the mail.
No, because Ricky Martin ran off with his boyfriend.
Exactly. Listen, on the serious side, when the Panthers were getting the new arena, I still remember you kind of being a little giddy about it and talking about how you got the Busman's tour and that the Panther arena seemed to be all right. Most notably, probably because you're a big Panther fan.
No, most notably because the taxpayers aren't paying for it. It's a bed tax. The tourists are paying for it, not the people who live in Broward County.
Well, if you've been listening to the rhetoric that's been flung around lately on the station, it seems that none of these stadiums were built purely with public money, as it were, with private money, as it were.
No, but you're only looking at half of the picture. You also missed me saying as recently as yesterday that if Wayne, with all the threats to the public, I mean, you're talking about once they already had it built. What am I going to do? Say, no, I'm not going to go look at it, and I'm not going to take my free tickets from the radio station? I'm not going to do that.
You're right on that.
But I said as recently yesterday, if they would have moved them out of town, life would have gone on. I can live without the Panthers.
Okay, I could see that. Finally, I have a solution for that whole Kennedy.
I mean, let me ask you this question. Is the community somehow enhanced because we have Major League sports teams here?
No. But I like my Marlins. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm...
Well, guess what? Almost nobody else does.
Okay, I can accept that, though, Neil. As a grown man, I can accept that.
Let me say this to you. If the Panthers were drawing as few people as the Marlins are drawing proportionally, if they were drawing like maybe 3,000 people a game instead of 17,000 or 18,000 the Panther games, and Wayne said, well, guess what? We got to fold up and move someplace else. Okay, fine, I understand that. Why can't you understand that? Instead of saying, oh, well, we're going to have to build you a $300 million stadium so you can make the money, et cetera, and so on, with taxpayer money. If John Henry, who's got his 165-foot yacht in Juneau, Alaska, has got that kind of money, let him be a man of his word, which would be the first time in his town it's ever happened, other than Joe Robbie, and let him put the money up and build his own goddamn stadium.
And you know what? For all that he was vilified a lot of times, Joe Robbie was certainly, the man.
Well, he wasn't the nicest guy that ever walked the earth, but the fact is that if it weren't for Joe Robbie, there wouldn't be any Dolphins here either, which means there wouldn't have been any Pro Player Stadium, and there wouldn't have been any Marlins, and there wouldn't have been any of this crap.
Exactly, which is why originally, you still got to, the Joe Robbie Stadium. I don't like the name change. Listen, Neil, if you have a big dish, you can manage to catch Star Trek 24/7 a day and miss every single ounce of Kennedy coverage.
I'll pass. Have a great day, pal.
Say
hi to Suds. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Here's Miami. Hello.
Oh, changed my mind.
Okay, great. Changed his mind. Okay, I guess we did too. Changed my mind. That's a new one. That's a first, sir. Oh! That's the first time I've been doing this for 127 years. That's the first time in all the years I've been doing this I ever punched up a line and somebody said, oh, changed my mind. Which is another way of saying chickened out or had no material or see ya. And have a great life, sir. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hi, good morning, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I was talking to a crowd of people yesterday, and I was explaining to them that...
Did you have a megaphone when you were doing this?
Yeah, I sure did. And I was explaining to them that I think Kennedy was as negligent as if he got behind the wheel of a car after drinking several vodka tonics.
No, that's not correct.
Well, sir, he didn't have to go. He didn't have to get into that situation.
Comparing a drunk driver with somebody who took a risk, I think is ludicrous. Is really getting carried away.
Wait a minute. When I get behind the wheel of a car and I've been drinking, that's a risk. And if I got passengers...
No, it's not. It's not a risk. It's against the law. Okay, he didn't break any laws. He took.
Yes, he did break laws, Neil. He broke every FAA law that there could probably be by going into IMC conditions. So he did break laws. Do you agree there?
I don't know.
Well,
were you on the plane?
Was I on the aircraft? No. But he broke laws by going to IMC. You don't go to IMC.
Which means what? I don't even know what the hell that means.
All right, IFR. You don't go into IFR conditions if you're a VFR pilot.
Conditions.
Uh-huh. Okay, that's the key word. He would have...
No, see, his mistake was getting talked into it. They were supposed to leave at 5:30. This was supposed to be a daylight flight. This was supposed to happen during daylight hours when visibility was better. He had no business flying it, and he got talked into it by his wife, who was insistent, and the fact that his sister-in-law showed up 3 hours late, that's why they left at 8:30 instead of 5:30, and that's why they're all dead.
So he's negligent. He should not have flown.
Negligent, but not like a drunk driver. And what difference does it make? What's the point?
Well,
does it make you feel better to say
sir,
that?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
So what's the point?
Well, I'm just trying to make a statement that if he didn't go, they'd be alive today.
And if she wouldn't have forced him to go, and if he would have been strong and willed enough to say, no, I'm not going to do it because it's too much of a risk, they would be alive today. That's correct.
Bingo.
Okay, see ya. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Hollywood, hello. Hollywood.
Neil, sorry.
Yes, sir. I thought maybe you changed your mind.
No, I didn't change my
Okay.
mind. Listen, what has JFK Jr. done that is so great?
Nothing.
that
Why are
the
we
country-
rehashing this? He's done nothing, sir.
Let me
He's
tell you
done
something,
nothing.
Neil. I know.
Nothing.
He
Zero.
failed his bar
Zippity
exam.
doodah.
He was like 40 years old. He failed his bar exam. There's Cubans dying every day on the sea, and there's not that much coverage for him. I cannot believe it. I'm very
Cubans dying
sad.
every day on the sea.
Yes.
What the hell's that got to do with this?
Because 100 Cubans die a day, we get no
How about
coverage.
Haitians dying on the sea?
Haitians?
Yeah, huh? That was great. I'm so glad he didn't change his mind. Sir, I'm so glad you're not just one of those one-dimensional people we have so many of down here. Thank goodness for that. That was lovely. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. See, that's our motto here in this town. Like that. It's kind of like a different version of, it's a takeoff of that, but it's more like that. I love it. 567-0560, pound 560 on that mobile one. We keep pumping these numbers. Boy, I sure can't wait for Mandich.
All right.
Maybe he'll come in an hour early today. Would be great. What do you think, Mandich? Want an extra hour?
No.
Come on. How about an hour and 10 minutes? Sounds good. Here's West Palm Beach. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir?
Hey, Neil.
Yes.
I haven't heard anybody talk about it. Do you hear about the inmate that had all his ribs broken and his balls knocked open pretty bad? And
His balls knocked open?
yeah, they said his testicles were very, very swollen, which means they kicked him in pretty good.
Uh-huh.
They broke all his ribs and they claimed it was suicide.
Yeah, I did read that, yeah.
He was a dirtbag, but still, I don't think he should be killed and beaten to death by cops in his prison.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Okay, thanks. Okay, that was pretty profound. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Here's a mobile in Hollywood. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Neil. I'm cracking up.
Try to control yourself. I know it's not easy with this parade of brilliant calls, but try to control yourself. I'm doing the best I can. I'm sucking on my cigar so hard it's coming out my earlobe.
First of all, I'd just like to say that you, Hank, and Mandich are what keep me listening to the station.
Right.
And the other thing is that the guy with the owls.
If Geldy had some better people to work with in the morning, that morning show might improve too. But go ahead.
No, I love him. I love his voice.
Yep.
But the guy with the owls on Marco Island, I would rather see like two owls.
Give a hoot, pal.
I would rather see two owls than 5 luxury mansions.
Yeah.
Well, that's only an opinion.
Okay.
And the handshake.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's very young. I'm a lot older than he is. And he gave me one of his handshakes the other day, and it cracked me up because it took me back to 1969. It was the same handshake. So what goes around, it's
Oh, he's
better.
from the Drug Brothers grip now? Is that it? That made a comeback?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks. All right, maybe someday, if you live long enough, you'll be in again. You know, it's like those old white bucks, you know? Yeah. Those old bell-bottom pants. Don't throw them out. Just hang on to them because someday they'll be in again. Fine. And, of course, like those, those big, what do they call those sideburns that flared out? Those hog...
mutton chops.
Mutton chops. You know, have them cut off, but save the hair because you can always paste them back on again when they come back into style. Kind of like Josh Morrow and Young and Horny Nick.
You're not old-fashioned. You're just way ahead of your time. That's all.
No, way behind the time. I got to catch up. Isn't that how it works? I don't know. I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm hip and I'm cool, man. What's up, man? What's up? Dog.
See, let me say it again. When you find illiterate people, especially those of darker complexion than you are, why do you want to emulate their behavior? That's what I find very, very puzzling. All of my life, I've wondered why. 567-0560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Here's a mobile in Hollywood. Hello. Okay, thank you. Here's Miami. Hello. Miami. Oh, we got an epidemic now. Ever since the one guy called and said he changed his mind, now they're all trying to do their own shtick. They got all trying to, it's one-upsmanship. 567-0560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. Here's a mobile in Palm Beach. Hello. Mobile in Palm Beach.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I got a comment on the JFK incident thing there.
The incident thing.
Yes, sir. Yesterday I was watching on the news, and they were interviewing people on the memorial about him. All these idiots out there standing around in front of the house and standing around buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
And people, I guess, they don't know what they're talking about because, first of all, the guy's there, and the newscaster asked the lady, you know, what do you think of this whole incident? And she really couldn't believe it. And then she's there, and
yeah. All right. What did I tell you about the kind of people who stay here in the summertime voluntarily? 567-0560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. Here's a mobile in South Miami. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Neil, 3 callers ago, the gentleman that was complaining about no coverage for the 100 Cubans that die a day.
Yes, sir. Have a nice day. Look, I'm going to get sucked into a conversation about that. What is it with some of you people? I mean, why don't you just laugh at that guy instead of feeling compelled to respond to it, okay? I'm not starting with anything that sounds with that K sound. Cuban, Kennedy, any of that stuff. Let's try to get rid of that stuff and start talking about important stuff like cigars. And cut the crap, which also begins with that K sound. Cut it out. God damn it. I was on Cape Cod. 1256 at 560 WK. See, all you got to do, it doesn't take any, just the slightest little flicker of that, and right away they all go off. Oh, they're all doing. He's an asshole. That crap. Just calm down. Oh.
It's not just the 1 to 2 hour. It's a phenomenon.
Listen to me. This is Stan Feinstein for Sofa King. You understand? Where everything is held to the high Sofa King standards. The selection isn't just huge, it's Sofa King huge. Believe me, you'll never shop anywhere else. And Sofa King's prices aren't just low, they're Sofa King low. You'll never find them anywhere else. Listen to me. When I say Sofa King has a beautiful store, I mean Sofa King beautiful. When I say staff is helpful, I mean Sofa King helpful. Listen to me. Get to know the Sofa King and enjoy a selection that's Sofa King huge. A staff that's Sofa King courteous and prices that are Sofa King low. You'll never shop anywhere else. But don't take it from me. Take it from satisfied customer Frank and Stein.
Sofa King good.
You said it, Frankie. Sofa King good.
Minute after 1, it's our gigantic 1 to 2 hour here on a Thursday. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's a mobile in Hollywood. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
How's it going today?
It's typical July 22nd day.
And I love that bit. That thing makes me crack up every time I hear it. That Seascape commercial,
Yeah.
I like the other one better. Carnival must have been begging them to take that thing off the air, though.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
The Seascape.
I don't listen.
Ship full of fun.
No.
And they bleeped out fun because Carnival had sued them because Carnival was the fun ships.
Okay, whatever you say. I mean, they're all the same crap to me. It makes no difference to me. And I see one of them. Which one was it that was polluting the waters and had to pay $18 million in fines? Royal Caribbean, is that the one? Whichever one it was. It's all the same crap. It's just another scam for people with no lives who keep going on these cruise ships.
All right. Well, I just wanted to call, and I don't know why.
Okay, and have a great day. Well, nobody knows why because nobody's got any material today, okay? It's just boring. We're here in the middle of the summer. It's the 22nd of July. It's 110 degrees over in the corner. Just stick your thumb in your mouth like Tom Thumb and like that. Like I said, and you'll feel like you're right at home. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Isn't it a shame that we're here and that most of the living and breathing people are out of town? They're on vacation. They're having a great time. In fact, some nice lady I know at Pompano Park last night was telling me when I got there about how she just came back from North Carolina. And I hate to admit this because you're the one that's always shopping up there where that house you got up there. But she was telling me how great it is. And she's from Ontario, Canada.
No people.
No, she was telling me it's just fantastic and how polite everybody is and friendly. And I said, oh, yeah, just like here. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. We got only 57 minutes to go. If I give those numbers, 172 times, we can get right up till the top of the hour, right up until Jim Mandich time.
Yes!
Here's a mobile in Jupiter. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, did I hear correctly that the Panthers are getting a new announcer? And if so, I thought it was someone coming out from the Long Island Islanders.
From the what? From the what Islanders?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Are we getting a new announcer? And if so, is it TV or radio?
Radio.
Oh, goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris. He's been gone. It's been months that we knew he wasn't coming back. So.
Yeah, but I didn't know.
And President Lincoln's got a bad hemorrhoid, too.
But I don't know who this guy is who's replacing. Could you fill me in a little bit,
His name is Jigs McDonald, sir. He's 60 years old. He doesn't look like a day over 90. He's boring. He's monotonous. He's terminal. One of the all-time worst. Does that answer your question?
Oh, boy, that's not good news.
And have a great day. Okay, and get a new phone. I would make some comment about it sounded like he was calling underwater, but these days that would be in very poor taste. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello. Mobile in Miami. Okay. Back to you. Here's another mobile in North Miami Beach. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hi. There's two things I wanted to mention today. I couldn't believe it this morning when I saw a U.S. naval ship was being used to bury Kennedy, to disperse Kennedy's ashes.
Yeah, number two, moving on, yes. Number two.
The cost of that.
Moving along, yes.
Okay, and the other one is as a recovering drug addict with like 12 years clean. I've heard you discuss the God concept many times, and my higher power is not God.
Yeah.
It's good orderly direction.
Mm-hmm. Whatever works for you, man. If it works for you, more power to you. Higher or lower, in between.
It obviously does. It does not necessarily. It's not a religious thing at all.
Yeah.
No,
it's just another crutch like religion, but it's just a different one. But if it works for you, stay sober. Here's a mobile in Miami Beach. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Oh, I changed my mind. No, just kidding. Listen,
you know how fast my finger is, man.
I've got to run something by you. This is good. I just came from the bank, okay? And correct me if I'm wrong, but for the last few weeks, over the radio and the TV, they've been saying, turn in your pennies, roll your pennies up, take them to the bank, and turn them in. Correct?
I never heard that. Where have they been saying that?
Well, it's been going on. They want you to turn in your pennies because there's a penny shortage.
I did see something on CNN about that. There's a shortage of them, and people were bringing in all these crap loads of pennies, yeah.
If this doesn't top it off, I rolled $50 worth of pennies just to do my part, turn in the pennies and whatnot.
Only $50.
Took it to the bank. You know what they told me? They're going to charge me 20 cents per roll to process them.
Yeah.
And they're already rolled and everything. 20 cents per roll. That's a little bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Sure, 20 cents for what?
Per roll. For the bank to take the pennies. They said just for them to take them, they're going to charge me 20 cents per roll. And I argued with the guy for 15 minutes to find out why. And he couldn't give me a good reason why. Just that's what it was.
I would tell him. That's what I would tell him.
I really wanted to. I tell you what, but
surcharge to take your money. That's nice.
Yeah. You get 30 cents on the roll.
I hope he didn't do that.
No, I walked out there. I cut off. I told the guy, go to hell. That's it.
Excellent. Good job. Okay. We'll take him over here, even Steven, okay? I mean, we won't give you anything for it, but we'll take him. Yeah, just everybody bring your pennies to QAM. We'll take them. You won't get anything at all in return. We'll even roll them for you. Just bring them in jars, bring them in barrels. We don't care. Bring all the pennies you got. Because we got to pay John Henry, we got to pay Wayne, we got to pay through the nose, man, just to keep all this. And now we got to pay the Hurricanes, too. Don't forget about that. So we can put all this horseball crap on the radio and pretend that Greg Reed is the broadcaster. That's what we got to do. So bring your pennies and bring your dimes and your dollars and your wooden nickels. A lot of people don't want wooden nickels. We'll take them. No problem at all. Fort Lauderdale, hello.
William Kenny, you're a douchebag.
5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil. How's it going, buddy?
It's great.
I'm just coming out of Miami, getting my car washed in the pouring down rain. And,
I think instead of going to the doctor today, I'm going to the shrink. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, just to let you know that I'm bailing out of my season ticket group. Usually get 10 games bailing out because this organization's making no commitment. Keep hearing a song and a dance. And Gene Hart's going to broadcast the games from his grave next season.
Be better than Jigs McDonald, I'll tell you that.
And stuff. Anyway, he'll have a lot of material today. Just thought I'd call and join on the bandwagon. And to everybody in South Florida, your flavor douchebags. Have a good one.
Okay, see ya.
This, I think, is the perfect example of queer. What is his purpose for his new show, or his ugly show? He uses that word rectum every 5 minutes because
Rectum?
that's where his brain is. He's never going to get past the South Florida audience because the town and the people that he's always complaining about are the only fools that would give him any time of day. Eventually, his ratings will drop so low, he'll have to readjust his rectum.
Rectum?
Gore is the boringest person that you'll ever view.
Yes.
We can't take him anymore. No one's more boring than Vice President Al Gore. No signs of facial expression. Is he alive? If you're stuck with him, then 1 hour seems like 5. 'Cause Gore is the boringest person that you'll ever view.
Yes.
Gore is the boringest person, goes for tip or two. Only one's more wooden than him, Pinocchio. But he'll come to life for Asian guys with lots of dough.
Only $50.
Gore is the boringest, he's out. Gore is the soaring best, he's out. Gore is the boringest person that you'll ever view.
What do you think about that great new linebacker for the Vikings? Boy, he's something. 114, he ain't no Jeff Popovich, though. 114 at 560 WQAM. We have a couple open lines if you want to participate. The number is... Okay, let's go to a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
I'm calling from Miami about this penny sale tax.
Yes, sir.
I'm a little bit confused about it.
I'll make it very simple for you. Just keep one word in mind, and that word will keep going through your head over and over again.
No.
Yeah. It'll make it real easy.
No. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm thinking about it. As far as toll taxes goes, when we use the tolls, it is tax deductible, but taxes aren't toll deductible. So why isn't anybody bringing that up as a point?
Right.
That's all I have to say. Thanks for giving me the time to talk to you.
Just say
no,
please.
No.
Over.
No.
And over again.
No.
Just keep thinking that.
No.
I don't want to be negative, but
no.
5670560 pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's Coral Springs. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yes, look at the bright side of the JFK situation. Can you picture what would be going on right now if he's being buried next week?
Oh.
I'm telling you something.
Oh.
That's not.
I want to tell you, during
the Jews buried him the next day. The Goyim buried a week later.
During this last commercial break, I flipped over for the first time since I sat down here this morning to CNN because I can't stand it.
Oh, yeah.
Guess what?
He's on Philbin Beach, which is on the flip side of the scene that we're seeing here.
Off Woods Hole, Massachusetts, and there's the ship out there in the water, the same picture they've had on, I guess, since I came in here this morning, and they just won't give it up. They will not let go.
You know, on top of that, I was thinking, where's Geraldo fit into all this? Okay, last night I'm home, surfing the TV,
Yeah.
and sure enough, there's Geraldo with one or two coroners. One or two coroners are talking about how well the bodies stay preserved underwater. I mean, that's what they're talking about. You know, I mean,
That's tasteful, yeah.
yeah, very tasteful. But I'm just saying, thank God it's only going to be like a week's worth, all right? But if he's getting buried next Thursday, which it'll be either Thursday or
I'd have to
Friday.
leave the country. I'd have to go on vacation again.
I'm telling I have to go to Vegas to shoot some crap and do something. I mean, please.
Okay, pal.
All right.
See ya. Bye. We can stay here and get all the crap we want right there on CNN.
Kennedy compound and
Yeah. 5670560. If there's any person listening to me right now who doesn't think that this whole media circus that's going on is one of the sickest things in the history of the human race, then we're going to get you an instant group rate on a lobotomy. Here's Cooper City. Hello.
Neil, how you doing?
Okay.
All right, I got another little spin on this.
the one thing that kind of ticks me off is the fact that if he had just been a regular old guy, this wouldn't have gotten 30 seconds on the newscast. All right? If it had been me and my family calling and said,
well,
hey,
we know that, yeah.
you know, if I didn't show up, the
Yeah, we
police
know
would have
that,
said,
sir.
well, you know, give him 3 days. He'll show up. All right. Another thing, with the Panthers, the fact that the arena is not, you know, tax funded.
Okay, 5670560, pound 560. There seem to be a lot of these people having like a change of heart, like in mid-sentence, you know, basically because they have nothing to say, they don't know what they're talking about. That's certainly new, isn't it?
No.
Here's Miami Shores. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I've lived in South Florida for 4 years. I've had enough that is more than I can stand. I'm moving to L.A.
Really?
I'm wondering if you know if Phil Hendry is still on the air out there.
Of course.
Are you sure?
KFI.
KFI. I'll look for him. I'm sure going to miss your show, but not much else from down here.
Okay. Good luck, pal.
Thanks.
Say hi to all those Orientals. Oh, I'm sorry, Asians. Learn to speak Vietnamese. It'll come in real handy for you. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. What a great place that used to be out there, by the way. Oh, man, that was some kind of a place. Used to be. Of course, same could be said about here. Here's a mobile in Pompano. Hello.
Hi, Neil. A couple things. There's a few people who are the majority who are just overwhelmed and over-extremed and just being ridiculous about it. But there's a few people like myself who are in the middle who don't make these, you know, wise jokes. But we loved Bobby. We did. You know, we thought he was going to change the world or change our country at the time. We loved JFK. We loved what he wanted to do for civil rights. And we missed that legacy and part of it. And it doesn't mean that we're idiots or schmucks or whatever, but there's a middle ground here. And
Sir, so there's not a middle ground. There's no middle ground. Either you I'll put this in its proper perspective, or you can also, and no, you're not putting it. It had nothing to do with Bobby
I know.
and with the hope that he held out, or JFK. It has
Did you
nothing
like
to do
Bobby?
with that. We're what?
I mean, do you remember when Bobby was running? Did he have a feeling? Did you ever get that excitement?
Sir, I went on here yesterday and talked at great length about watching the PBS special 2 nights ago at 10 o'clock. I didn't see the first part Monday. I saw the last 2 hours, which was about the Suns. I was a big Kennedy fan. That has nothing to do with this. It's an accident. We've had all kinds of accidents in the Kennedy family, and people have died prematurely, and the media hasn't gone into a frenzy like this. John Kennedy Jr. had nothing to do with what you're talking about in any way, shape, or form.
We don't know.
He was an unimportant person.
As of now, he was, but we don't know what would have happened, Neil.
Meaning what? Sir, you talk about being in the middle ground. You need serious help. We don't know what would have happened just because his name was Kennedy. He was a nothing. He was a zero.
It was an act of stupidity what he did.
I'm not talking about the air. I'm talking about
Flying
what
around.
he was. Forget about flying around. And again, if a man makes a great judgment like that, he sure as hell would have made a great senator or great president. Maybe he could have driven somebody off the bridge. What are you talking about?
Neil, I was just part of it. I can't.
Sir, you need to get therapy, okay? Please, I'm going to say goodbye. Get you some help. What you need is to have a whole portion of, maybe you can go to that place where they send Rosemary, with the shock treatments. Electroshock therapy. I'm not a big advocate of it, sir. It's a barbaric thing, but in your case, it might not hurt. You just don't want to let go. It's gone. We're not talking about something that happened 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago or even 10 years ago. We're talking about stuff from the distant past. I was a young man. I remember it all like it happened yesterday. It brought tears to my eyes again when I watched it Tuesday night. But you know something? I can't wallow in all of that stuff the rest of my life. And John Kennedy, the idea, like I said yesterday, they don't have some kind of a factory where they keep stamping out Kennedy messiahs, where a new savior pops up every 5 or 10 years. It doesn't happen. Oh, what he could have been. Yeah, he could have been another one of the idle rich who put out a magazine that would have gone out of business because it was losing money hand over fist. That's what it would have been. And the idea that just because somebody is born into a family that they have some kind of this man sounds just like Joe Kennedy. We got a legacy here. 2 terms for John, 2 terms for Bobby, 2 terms for Teddy, 2 terms for John Jr., and let's just have royalty here like they do in England that we're always laughing at him. And rightfully so. We don't want that. That's what separates this country. We don't have a king and a queen. We got a lot of queens, but we don't have a queen that we worship down to. And fairy princesses and all this other bull crap. And that's what you want. That's what you're living in. You're stuck in a time warp and you don't want to get out. I'm not going to let my life get all wrapped up in this crap from 30 years ago, 36 years ago. Yeah, it was wonderful to have some hope. But you know what? They wiped out the hope, so you have to be a realist. You have to live in the real world now instead of living in some kind of a fantasy land. God almighty, if somebody's going to break the news to this guy that Santa Claus doesn't really exist, then he's really going to fall apart. What's he going to do then? Boy, I can't wait for that day. I can imagine what that call is going to be like. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. He's in the middle ground. See, I told you he wasn't in the middle ground. I knew right off the bat. The way he started bringing in about Bobby and JFK. Well, what has that got to do with this? How about when David Kennedy died of the drug overdose up there in a hotel in Palm Beach County? Did we ever get one call from people talking about the Kennedy legacy when that happened?
No.
North Miami, hello.
Hello, Neil?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I think you were right at the beginning of your show. It's just not worth talking about.
Oh, it's just wearing me out. It's killing me. I mean, there's nothing else these people want to talk about. I realize it's the middle of summer. It's 400 degrees and it's boring as hell. There's nothing going on here. But right. Jesus, this is just unbelievable.
Well, I did
Bobby and John. And you know something? Like I said before, if you want to be objective about it and look at how they all got there in the first place and what a son of a bitch the old man was and all the goddamn bootlegging money that made their fortune in the first place, let's be honest about it. Right. It was like a mafia family.
That's it. That's what they were.
This guy's seen too many Godfather movies, I think.
I wanted to bring up the cigar legislation.
Please.
You know,
I'm ready to bring up my lunch, and I haven't even had one yet.
Have you heard of a brand called Lars Tettons or Tetons? I don't know if they pronounce it that way.
No, don't say teats on the air, sir.
No, I know. I'm trying to be careful about this. No, this guy puts on every box, on every package of cigars that he sells, the word toxic, and then he's got the skull and crossbones, and then it says smoke this and you will die, or smoke this and die.
Right.
And he sells like crazy because the people that buy cigars that are, old enough to, to buy cigars, they know, hey, look, it's not good for you, but hey, you do it in moderation and you act like a human being, like a normal.
See, one thing I promise you, that if you smoke cigars, you'll die. If you don't smoke cigars, you'll still die. So
can you imagine how much money the taxpayers will save if everybody put that on their boxes, and they don't have to worry about this California law and the other law and the third law and sticking all that on there. So anyway, that's what I had.
Nobody's taking my stogies away from me, man.
There, I'm smoking one right now.
All right.
And a stogie too.
Okay, see ya.
Take care.
Thank God. We finally had somebody who's got something important to talk about, and that's a good cigar. This man's got his priorities right. Let's hear it for this guy. Oh! Finally. 3 hours and 25 minutes later. And where's all the women out there? They're probably over at my aunt's house weeping about poor John Jr. They're probably counting the number of particles they're throwing in the sea there, okay? Okay, here's ash number 1. I'm surprised they don't have people diving after that. Of course, it's kind of hard once the ashes go in the water, you know what I'm saying? Kind of hard to bring them back, like the pieces of the Berlin Wall. Tacky, tasteless, disgusting, grotesque, voyeuristic, just gruesome, morbid. This is morbid. And you people at CNN, man, I've got news for you. You people are a disgrace. You're like a laughing stock. It's like when you sent that hyperventilating bitch to Cuba when the Pope was there. That Christiana Amanpour with that phony accent she puts on. That was sitting there sucking the Pope's robes. It was disgusting. No wonder he looked so damn worn out. Between Fidel and her, it was a question of who was doing the most of the sucking. You know what I'm saying? God.
There's no fact in the church.
Yeah. Thank God. Speaking of that, by the way, there's a new show in town that opened this weekend at the Drama Center called Naked Boys Singing. It's a must-see. George is going to go see it. Oh, you're not? A huge success in L.A. for more than a year and a half. It opened simultaneously off-Broadway in New York as well as in South Florida to rave reviews. So what the hell does George know? Naked Boys Singing is an outrageous new musical review revolving around naked guys. What do you say to that?
All right.
I knew he'd like it.
Lung cancer, emphysema, smegma, seborrhea, psoriasis. They can all be attributed to the harmful effects of smoking cigarettes. Hello, I'm William Talbot. Perhaps you'll remember me as Hamilton Berger, Raymond Burr's adversary on Perry Nation. And now, I'm dead. So take it from me. Kick the habit, and you won't wind up like I did. Don't smoke, and you'll never die. Ever.
This message paid for by the Militant Anti-Smoking Committee for Immortality.
Damn it.
Hey, anybody got a light?
No. 132 at 560 WQM. Don't forget, if you smoke a lot, you're going to die. If you don't smoke at all, you're still going to die. And what about that booze I was talking about yesterday? It's supposed to be good for diabetics. Never got a call about that. Yeah, that's what we need. Somebody to bring us some good non-fruity wine. Huh? I don't know anything about wines. I'm not going to pretend to know something about it. I don't. Something that wouldn't send my blood sugar skyrocketing. Like I could drink a glass a day. I would live to be 400. That would be great. Until I light up this cigar when I go out. Oh, don't tell my mother I was smoking a cigar. That'll be the next thing. While she's rummaging through my trash, not only will she find a Snickers wrapper, she'll also probably find a wrapper from one of these cigars. For one of these great Nick cigars. So I better watch where I throw my wrappers. Here's Pembroke Pines. Hello.
Hey, how you doing today, Neil?
All right.
All right, man. I wanted to see if I can make you a card for all those that are really lost today, that they stand on hold for, 4.5 minutes, 10.5 minutes?
Yeah.
And they go, forget it.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, well, how about, let me see if I can do a real one.
Okay. 567-0560, pound 560. Well, he said forget it. And I said, why not? Pound 560 on the AT&T line. Jim Anderson will be here in 27 minutes. Thank God for that. The brilliant, the vociferous, the hysterical Jim Mandich will be here to rattle his spear and hockey with sports Chonic between 2 and 6. I wish him all the luck in the world, baby. I'll tell you that. This is this time of the year is just it's unacceptable. There ought to be a law passed to prohibit this time of the year in this town. Unacceptable. And getting worse each and every year, worse and worse. Here's a mobile in North Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil, did
Yes.
you see the story in the Sun Sentinel today about the Orthodox priest in Russia?
No.
You will love it.
Yeah.
You'll absolutely love it. This guy, apparently, drunkenness is not a problem with the church because many of the priests are drunk.
Yeah.
But this guy
Well,
is
it's good
the
for
head
business. They got to keep some part of their economy going.
Right. But this guy was not only, he was shaking down other priests for money in order to do various administrative chores. He was like the head of the Orthodox Church.
The head guy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, the head man. And he was wildly, overtly, openly homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
So it became a tremendous embarrassment, and they got rid of him. I thought you'd like it because, as you know, from your button there,
there's no fags in the church.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. There are no fags in the church. So let me ring off by saying, Danke Welt from Amsterdam.
Okay.
Bye.
Alstublief, whatever that means. 56705. Well, hey, now where am I going to learn Dutch? My good friend Professor Jack over there at FIU, he teaches 6 languages, including Italiano, but no se habla Dutch aquí.
Got to be some tapes or something.
That's a very difficult language. I mean, have you ever seen it in print? I'll bring you back.
No, doesn't it have little squigglies all over the tops of the letters? And
No, you're thinking like Finnish is like that. And,
yeah.
And
Finnish is actually easy to pronounce.
And Danish and Swedish, they have like little lines through the O's and stuff like that. No, it doesn't have squiggly lines, but it's just, I don't know, it makes no sense to me at all. I know het weer, that means the weather. What else? Do I know? Maybe 10 words in Dutch, huh? Like maybe,
No.
I know that one. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I believe your show is supposed to be a family show. Why do you just go?
No,
pop,
my
pop,
show
pop,
is not
pop,
supposed to be a
pop,
family
radio?
show. No, it's not supposed to be a family show.
I mean, you're
It's supposed
supposed
to be an entertaining show, and once an asshole like you gets online, it ceases to be very entertaining, so I have to press the button and say, pop, 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 pop to you, okay? It's not supposed to be a family show. It's an entertainment show. You either like it or you don't like it. Take it or leave it. And in your case, 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's Lauderhill. Hello.
I seen your show last night at Whammy. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I had a big smile on my puss watching it, too.
Uh-huh.
And it was so glorious. I keep winding it over and over again.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, you keep winding it. Okay, well, wind it one more time, man. Maybe something will happen this time.
Squirt.
But I doubt it. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. What did I tell you about those people, those of us left here in this town at this time of the year, huh? We're the losers. We're the sad sacks. We're the unlucky bunch. But, of course, some of us have many more vacations before the year is out, thank God.
Oh!
And we just keep looking at the counter and saying, yeah, it's not that far off. All right. Here's a lady in Aventura. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Neil. I really enjoy your show. I moved from New Jersey, and after here touring for so many years, it's a big change for me, and I really enjoy it.
Great.
You're great.
Yes,
And now I want to tell you something.
And highly unappreciated by these ungrateful bastards here, too, by the way. I just thought I'd mention it. Sounds good.
I'm sorry?
I said, so how you doing?
Well, I want to tell you about people with accent like me
Yes.
in this country. Since I moved from New Jersey and Virginia.
You don't have a New Jersey accent. That's
No,
fine.
no, for of course not. But I'm so mad at all the immigrants from South America and Central America because they don't make the effort to speak English.
To speak it English, that's right.
Exactly. Well,
Cool.
I have an accent and I'm working on that. But here, everybody, it's like pretend like we're supposed to speak Spanish. Come on, we're in America. Speak English, guys.
That's right. Amen. Where are you from?
I'm from Argentina. My grandfather
Oh,
was
Argentina.
Irish. Yeah.
Oh.
And I remember
Your grandfather was Irish? Did he
Yeah.
know any Nazis, by the way, in Argentina?
Yeah, that was quite a few.
I bet.
Yeah. But
Well, you can't beat their
anyway,
meat is what I hear.
I'm sorry?
I said, I hear it's a hell of a place.
Yeah, it's nice. It's different. It's
Buenos
different.
Aires?
Buenos Aires, yes. It's different. And for sure a lot of Argentinians are hearing your program because you're great.
Now, let me ask you, because when I was in Berlin, they have a lot of those Argentinian steakhouses, you know?
Yeah?
And I noticed that they brand some of the cattle down there with like a little tiny swastika. You have to look very closely, but it's kind of interesting. It must be that
really?
Nazi influence that's left over in Argentina, you know?
Well, they mark the cows, but, anyway, I'm vegetarian. That means...
There you go. That's a safe way to go, honey.
Okay. Well, I can't believe I'm talking to you. You make my day, and you make my day every day when I'm cleaning my house as a housewife.
Well, you made my day, sweetheart. You're the first rational person I've spoken to all day, and God bless you.
Well, I'm not a religious person.
Well,
but
I don't mean,
I'm glad
I don't
to
mean,
speak with you.
I just mean.
Oh, God!
Bless you, that one.
Okay,
Have a
bye-bye.
great day, sweetheart.
You too.
Arrivederci.
Take care. Bye.
Okay. And watch out for Martin Borman. He's making a comeback. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Pompano Park, I won $35 last night. Pat Rich won over 100. It was although we gave most of what his early winnings were back, but we had a good time. Always have a good time at Pompano Park. Saw my good friend Mark Lowe up there last night. How you doing, Mark?
I'm just a very horny Kennedy guy. If I have trouble scoring, I just unzip my fly. I'm a very horny Kennedy guy. We live extraordinary, privileged life. We spoil our kids and cheat on our wives. We all went drinking at a cocktail bar. Met a few girls and drove them home in the car. We're just very horny Kennedy guys. Very horny Kennedy guys. One tried to get away, I chased her to the yard. She used some jujitsu, it made me so hard. Uncle Ted stood there with his pants down. We're outside the law. Inside the compound, we're just very horny Kennedy guys.
All right.
Yeah. We're just very horny Kennedy guys.
145 at 560 WQM. I must confess that I've really let the community down this week. I just haven't told them what they wanted to hear. That guy that called about 20 minutes ago, he just was the frosting on the cake. That was one of the most, and I don't think he was kidding either. I think he was serious. Do you believe if it was a put on, please send me a note. Put it in a bottle, okay? Put it in the ocean. Send me a note in a bottle. Maybe it'll float up to the acres, but it's kind of hard. But nevertheless, I mean, that guy, well, you remember Bobby? And, see, this is what happens when you allow yourself to get compartmentalized and labeled. You must never, ever, ever allow yourself to be part of a group. You must not be a baby boomer, a Generation Xer, a Generation X laxer, all this other media-created crap. It's insanity. Just the notion that because you were born in a particular year and lived your life during a particular era means that you adopted certain attitudes and behavior is ridiculous. But this guy is one of those professional baby boomers who watched that stupid movie too many times. What the hell was the name of that awful movie where they had the reunion in the world?
Big Chill.
The Big Chill. This guy, he is the Big Chill. You know something, pal? You need to take a chill is what you need to do. Have you got the music? Oh,
both versions.
All right. You're living in a time warp, okay? And guess what? It wasn't so great. You know, nostalgia is just an incredible thing. What the human mind will do. Always thinking back to, oh yeah, it was so much better then, and it was so much better here. Yeah, right. Here we go. Time to chill out, baby. Big time. What's up?
Chilling. Oh, I'm sorry. Big chilling.
Yeah. How many chilling? Are they Kennedy chilling? Oh, come on, Gladys, whatever your name is. Oh, it's Marvin. I'm sorry. Actually, I really couldn't tell. For just a second, I thought it was going to be Gladys, but it was Marvin. I caught it just in time.
Oh!
Thank you. Here's Lake Worth. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
It's John in Lake Worth.
How you doing, John?
Pretty good. How are you?
Finally, here's a rational person. John in Lake Worth. That's 2 this hour.
Yeah, I didn't want to let you down. I'm on vacation. I figured I'd give you a shout.
You're on vacation and you're here?
3 mile in my house.
Okay.
Hey, before I forget, tonight on Biography, they have Joe Kennedy. I know you said you're a fan of that show.
Yeah.
So they're doing a thing on him. Last night they had a 2-hour special on JFK. Tonight's all about his father. It was excellent.
I really don't need any more JFK. I saw the one on public television Tuesday night. I mean, I've read the books about both assassinations. I've read more books than probably all the audience put together about all their lives, about the assassinations.
You know what? Let me. I've been meaning to. Every time I call, I never mention this, but. What I think, the media is all whipped up, and you go on and on about that. The thing is, when you were, let's say, in your 20s, there was maybe 3 TV stations, a couple of major newspapers, and that was it.
Right.
Now we have so much media.
Oh, sure. They got 24 hours a day to fill up. You've got all these all-news outlets, MSNBC,
But
CNBC,
the thing is
Fox
that
News, CNN.
The reason, not only does the American public, which you've also mentioned, just love the gore and they love things like the Channel 7 and everything, but these people, these media, the newspapers and the TV and the radio and this and that, they all have to find a different angle in which to report. Otherwise, they're all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So not only do they have to cater to the American people to like things like this and the O.J. trial and so on and so forth, but everybody has to look for a different.
But you know something, as ponderous as it was in some ways, and as much as a lot of the housewives especially just turned their lives over to it, at least the O.J. thing was captivating in many ways. It was like a soap opera. You know what I'm saying? But this thing is a human tragedy. It's an accident. We have people die in accidents every day, and this is a morbid thing.
Well, no, of course, granted. But the thing is that you actually. Okay, his sister Caroline, she just wrote a book, okay? The reason you haven't seen her around, and she hasn't made any public statements, is because she's anti-media. As a matter of fact, she just wrote a book. I don't remember the name of it, but it's about the media and how they've made their life a living hell.
Yeah.
And that's why she's a recluse. That's why she doesn't want anything to do with it. She's completely sick of it. Now, the media knows this already, okay? They know about the book. They know how much she can, and JFK Jr. could not stand the media.
And they were following around her. She was on her bicycle yesterday, and they still were following her around. They wouldn't leave her alone.
Don't you have any they have absolutely no respect for people's feelings.
No, of course not.
None. And you know what? She's trying to ride her bike, and people, well, how could she ride her bike? Well, you know what? What is she supposed to not live her life now that her brother's dead? I mean, just back off. Don't photograph her.
They can't do that. They absolutely can't do
and that's
that.
the thing is there's just too much goddamn media in the country, and everybody. You know what a classic example of this is? Do you remember when Mark McGuire, the whole thing with the supposed steroids?
Yeah.
Okay, that reporter went into this guy's locker,
right.
snooping around.
Right.
Because he
just like my mother went into my garbage and found the Snickers wrapper. That's
now,
right.
everybody was reporting on the same thing. He's in the home run race with Sosa, blah, blah, blah. Well, this one guy, everybody's saying the same thing, but he wanted to try and find something different. So he went into the guy's locker. And that's my point. The point is that there's so much media, everybody's saying the same exact thing, that everybody has to just dig a little bit deeper to try and find something a little bit.
But it's not going to change. It's only going to get worse because the competition is getting more and more fierce. I mean, they're still on this Woods Hole message. They've had that same shot on there now on CNN.
Cousin William Kennedy Smith, another
face. The sad part is that most of these people, I too, about 4 years ago, I went cold turkey, and I said, look, I am not going to watch Channel 7 News anymore, and I have not in probably about 4 years, because it's hypnotic, actually, to watch that, because you actually, you actually look for more misery, more and more misery, and I just snapped out of it, and I said, that's
not going to happen. People want it.
Well, that's just it.
All the people are calling make fun of Rick Sanchez and are decrying what they're doing over there. They're all watching it. How could they know what he's doing if they're not watching it?
No, and that's just it. They're not kidding anybody. People love this. You've said it for years and years and years. People actually get off on this stuff.
Sure they do.
On other people's misery. And you know what? If people would actually just turn off the TV, change the channel, or just not read about certain things, eventually the press would actually, and in this case...
Like I said, John, you're deluding yourself, okay? I mean, your intentions are good, but it ain't going to happen.
Well, on a closing note...
I have no life.
That's the problem.
Is there any... Look, Chris Moore is gone. I mean, anybody was better than him.
Marginally. You'll find out.
Hey, I love you.
See you, John.